Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of 13 Cards Subject to Change. Zach here, Leroy here, Jesse on the way. During the show today, folks, we're going to have a very emotional time. We're going to have a very fun time. We have an interview possibly scheduled for around 3 o'clock local time. That's about 20 minutes from now. We will if Leroy's phone goes off, we have an interview hopefully with the general manager of Discover Pro Wrestling, Alex Riley, not formerly of WWE, but Alex Riley.
Yes.
He'll be in. We're going to talk to him for a little bit, hopefully today. That'll be a lot of fun. But whenever Leroy's phone goes off, we will kind of cut off from what we're doing and jump into that. Obviously, DPW Warmth of Warfare #1 is 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, and he put on Instagram and on Facebook, he had a big announcement about the ladder match for the title, and that's probably we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to let him say it on the show for you because that's going to be a lot of fun for you. But Eric Redbeard is out of the bash at the lift bridge in Stillwater. So there was a replacement that we're going to tease a little bit. Alex,
we're going to tease?
Yep. If we get out, if Alex doesn't end up having the ability to, we'll obviously tell it before the end of the show. But
definitely have to.
But the replacement he got, I was just like, oh.
I was
okay.
I saw it at work, and I was giddy like a little schoolgirl.
Okay.
I have to send message to Dave and say,
let me just point this out.
What did he do to get that?
Let me just point this out.
Oh,
Allison has never seen this wrestler. She doesn't even know who this wrestler is.
Yes.
But when I told her his status, what title he holds, she's like, oh. Allison's also trying to join us as well. She's probably going to be coming down to Stillwater with us. Yes.
I got plenty of room in the Jeep. So
anyway,
I'm going to start out.
Hold on. I said this last week. We're going to have to start doing this a lot.
Okay, no problem. Hopefully not.
This is very hard that a week later I have to say it again. The wrestling world, I don't even know what to say because I am just coming off watching the Jim Cornette Experience, which was an entire episode dedicated to this man. Ladies and gentlemen, the wrestling world lost the nicest man in wrestling, beautiful Bobby Eaton, this past week. Bobby was having some medical issues, passed away at his home. Jim told some personal stuff that I'm not going to go into a lot of that because here's the deal. We don't normally do this, but I think this is important. If you want, and Leroy, I'm going to have you find that link and put it into somewhere, maybe in the description on Podomatic or put the description on our YouTube when this book gets posted.
Yeah, I'll probably
Ladies and gentlemen, please
it up later today.
Please go to Jim Cornette on YouTube or wherever Jim's podcast is. Watch episode 393 of The Experience. It is an entire 2-hour tribute to the now late great, beautiful Bobby Eaton. I cannot sum up what Bobby Eaton meant any more than what Jim Cornette can do. The stories were great. The first about 10 minutes, Jim is a wreck. Jim is not like you would think. There's no vibrato in his voice. Jim is ready to just burst into tears the entire first 10 minutes. And after explaining the situation that led to the passing of Bobby Eaton, he finally pitches it to Brian Last. And Brian Last, from this moment on, I will say is a wonderful person because what Brian did was just ridiculously brilliant, but also very nice. Was Brian immediately got Jim into stories. He got Jim into how did you meet? How did this happen? He got into the good parts of Bobby Eaton. He got Jim off of the death of one of his closest friends and got him into the beautifulness that was, no pun intended, beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Yeah, and I understand from Jim, I have lost friends like that, and it's tough. Yeah. I mean, doing what he's doing, I don't know if I could do it.
Jim even said on the podcast, there was actually discussions from the Wednesday that Bobby passed until they recorded, I believe, last night on Saturday, that he may have never done either podcast again. That's how he was feeling about Bobby. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, I will pull this up here because I've had this saved
for Bobby.
I've had this
that he's done.
I've had this saved on my phone from the moment that it happened. So let me get this up. For those of you that don't know, this man, beautiful Bobby Eaton, born Huntsville, Alabama, 1958, passed away August 4th in Nashville, Tennessee. Bobby Eaton, ladies and gentlemen, was known as the nicest guy in wrestling. I don't think there was a person in this world that had a bad thing to say about him backstage. one half of the legendary Midnight Express. 2 incarnations, one with Dennis Condrey, one with Stan Lane. Both were wonderful compliments to Bobby, but Bobby was Shawn Michaels before Shawn Michaels. Bobby was a guy that
I totally agree.
That people were talking around the territories. There's this kid. He's young. He looks good. He's entertaining, but he's putting on matches. I mean, he just. Bobby worked with guys like Coco Beware. He worked with Steven Regal, Arn Anderson. Bobby, there were 2 guys. I heard this from Jim. Like I said, I'm not going to go into what Jim said entirely, but there's a few things that were there. There were 2 guys when Flair was booking WCW that he specifically asked to work with. One was Brian Pillman. That's a hell of a name right there.
Damn right.
And the other one was Bobby Eaton.
Yeah.
Tributes came in from around the wrestling world. Even Tony Khan had some words to say. And Jim actually did put out, like I said, I don't know if he said it on The Experience or if he said it on Twitter. I'm guessing it was Twitter. But he did put out a statement thanking Tony Khan, saying, I don't really, like and, how he does his wrestling company, but I don't hate him as a person. And, the kind words he gave to Bobby were absolutely fantastic.
They did set a GoFundMe. I haven't double-checked
Gene
checked that yet of
Gene
what that's
actually
sitting at.
updated me right before I got to the show.
Oh, he did? Okay, cool.
$21,000
Oh, my God. That's,
is what
that's
it was
beautiful.
Up. That was
is beautiful.
double what they were looking for the Memorial Fund.
Wow.
So,
It's
ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Eaton. Gene also sent me a link that I'll just say, I think it's Mr. Wrestling 66 on YouTube. He has 10 2-hour videos, the best of the Midnight Express.
Oh, my God.
And I've been watching it nonstop from the moment Gene sent it to me because, folks,
that's some good
I'm not
stuff.
here to insult them. I'm here to just state a fact. You think the Young Bucks are a great tag team? You're not going to think that after you watch this. The Midnight Express, Leroy, they were around much in the era that you were watching, and they had a damn near 40-year rivalry. And Jesse's walking in. Jesse, we'll get. I'm gonna throw it to you here in just a second. I know you just came in, but anyway, let me finish my thought here.
Okay.
30-year rivalry with the Rock and Roll Express. 30 years.
That's all you got to say.
Turn the mic on, I think. I don't know if the mic's
on.
on.
Your mic's on.
Yeah, the mic's on. Okay. But yeah. No, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is not me taking a shot at the Young Bucks. This is just honest. You want to see tag team wrestling, you go watch any incarnation of the Midnight Express. My favorite was actually him and Condrey. There was something with him and Dennis that was amazing. But Stan, Stan was more than able to keep up. Update, Jesse. I got some stuff from Gene about this whole situation here. Number one, we've already told people we're not going to say what Jim said, but go listen to Jim's Experience number 393. It's a wonderful 2-hour tribute to Bobby and everything that he meant to the wrestling business.
He helped mold in the business.
Well, but Bobby also got him into it.
Yeah.
He tells the story about actually meeting Bobby.
Yeah.
He actually knew Dennis Condrey for 5 years before he knew Bobby.
Yeah.
But anyway, to update you, the GoFundMe is now over $21,000.
Good, that's good.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Our deepest condolences go out to his daughter, who had actually just finished moving to Nashville to be with her dad to help him out.
And
our heart and soul goes out to her. Your dad, we may have never met him, but boy, did he give many years. Mr. Wrestling 66 on YouTube has 10 2-hour videos, the best of the Midnight Express.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good.
Ladies
you want to watch great classic tag team wrestling, how to tell the story.
And here's the other thing I want to point out: not just great classic wrestling. Great work with anybody.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about a 30-year rivalry with the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, they worked with the Road Warriors, and it was flawless. They worked They worked with everybody, and it was amazing. And like I said, folks, it's interesting because this is not a tagline. This was actually what he was dubbed, because Ric Flair, probably because of how big he got, and because, as I've mentioned to Jesse before, the black community was very into the persona of Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. But the real wrestler's wrestler was the nicest man in wrestling, Bobby Eaton.
Yeah.
And when we say nicest, this is a story that Jim's told 1,000 times. So, I mean, I mean, it's easy to say. We've all seen old clips of when Dundee used to wrestle. I believe it was Bill Dundee.
Bill Dundee.
Bill Dundee wrestling.
Yes.
So Bill Dundee had a rule for his daughter, the same way Vince had one, and both rules were broken. But Bill Dundee found out that his daughter had been secretly dating one of the boys, and Bill Dundee was like, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna beat that mother effer, all this other kind of stuff." And he finally says, "You better tell me the damn name." She goes, "Oh, it's Bobby Eaton." He goes, "Well, God damn it! If you had to choose one, you got the right one." And his beautiful wife passed away 3 weeks ago. I think this is another example of they were close if Bobby went so soon after. But I'm not gonna say much else that Jim said because I think Jim should be the one that says it. The first 10 minutes is hard. Jim's choking up the whole time. He almost can't get through it. There was a discussion to never have the experience or the drive-through ever again. And I said this earlier, but since Jesse's in, I'm going to repeat it. All love to Brian last.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first thing Brian said during this podcast, he immediately got Jim into the storytelling. He immediately asked questions, and he immediately got... Jim is himself virtually the whole 2 hours except for the first 10 minutes and the last 5.
Yeah.
And this man would give money to the homeless. I mean, the nicest guy in wrestling wasn't a tagline. I mean, he would work a match with anyone. He'd work your style of match. And he was one of those guys, you might have another insight into this. Mm-hmm. He was probably Shawn Michaels before Shawn Michaels.
He probably was.
Just in the sense that everyone watched him from the get-go, and he just had great matches.
It was hard for him to have a bad match back then because he was so talented. And when he passed, Jim Cornette is actually the first person I thought about.
Trained by Tojo Yamamoto.
I was thinking of Jim and a couple of the guys from All Japan, one of the guys you just mentioned.
Yep.
Those guys grew up with Bobby and it was just like another one. We lose another great. And by the way, someone who
you couldn't hate him in the locker room. By the way.
And somebody who also the last 15, 20 years was helping a lot of the young wrestlers today. Samoa Joe.
What I also think hurts is Jim mentions, and again, I don't want to give away too much, but Jim was talking about that Saturday. He had just talked to Bobby about what they were going to do for the 40-year anniversary of the Midnight Express. Wow. And it looks like now it's just going to be him, Dennis, and Stan, which I think they'll all do a great job.
Yeah, they will.
Yes, they will.
For
Definitely,
Bobby.
yeah.
But it's like, folks, let me tell you something. I don't care what style of wrestling you're into. Bobby Eaton was the epitome of selling.
Oh, yeah.
Because, to quote Jim, selling is making someone buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Eaton would make you buy ice.
Yeah.
If you were in the middle of Antarctica. Bobby Eaton made the veil of wrestling matter.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so hard to lose someone, but if I may, just a couple of career highlights here. I mean, obviously he started in Alabama all those years ago.
Yeah.
At 16 years old. First of all, so you want to talk about how good somebody was? I mean, folks. Georgia Championship Wrestling, NWA, Georgia Television Champion, the Jim Crockett Promotions, all those tag team title matches with Stan, with Dennis, with Arn, obviously. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, I mean, all these take me back. Continental Wrestling Association, the CWA.
Yes.
There's something you don't hear every day. He was the heavyweight champion down there once. So the Mid-America Heavyweight Championship, 11 times he was the NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Champion. What does that tell you?
Oh, yeah.
Mid-South, obviously, with Dennis. Okay, so now we get into the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Awards. This is interesting because, remember, he's known as a tag team guy.
Yeah.
First of all, they were Tag Team of the Year. This is actually the only time the Midnight Express was Tag Team of the Year was in 1987 with Stan Lane. So him and Dennis were never Tag Team of the Year according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Think about
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Okay, think about this. Born in 1976. So think about that. 16 years. Think about how long that career was, right? He was number 27 in the PWI 500.
76 should be later in that.
In 92.
Right.
92.
Right. Wow.
In 2003, he was only 91.
Wow.
So he was the top 100 as a singles competitor that late into his run.
Yeah.
I mean, Class of 2019 in the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Class of 19. The entire Midnight Express was put in.
Yeah.
With Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose was
Yeah.
also there. He wrestled for WCCW, World Class Championship Wrestling, Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Of course,
he was
of
there.
course.
Now, Wrestling Observer, we're not going to get into Dave. We're not going to say anything about it. We have some.
What Dave has become now is different than what Dave started as.
Yes,
That
which
is
by
so
the
true.
which
That
by
is
the
true.
way, which by the way, Jim and Brian will both confirm.
Yeah.
Because people
Yep.
think Brian's lying. He has every episode of The Observer, every issue.
Yeah.
The back issues. Class of 2019, he was in the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame with Condrey and Lane.
Correct.
They all went in. Folks, this is what I got to say right here. 4 times he was voted the most underrated. Listen to these years. 85, 86, 90, 93.
Wow.
Think about the disparity in those years
Yeah.
to be the most there. Tag Team of the Year with Condrey in 86, so before the PWI did theirs in 87 with Stan Lane, 86. The worst work match of the year in 91 with PN News versus Terrence Taylor, Steve Austin in that scaffold match at the Great American Bash. That was kind of a hard match to work if you go back and watch
definitely,
it.
definitely.
But just, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is another guy that you lose, and like Jesse said about helping guy, it came effortlessly to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, folks, again, I don't care what kind of wrestling you like, you will love watching the Midnight Express.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They
Oh, yeah.
ain't no way around that.
they main evented the Superdome.
Yes.
So many things that I could say about just watching the Midnight Express, and I mean, I've watched all their old stuff on YouTube. Obviously,
yeah.
obviously the best of when I get deeper into that, I'll probably see stuff I've already seen. But I mean, like you go back and
before
my God.
WWE switched over to Peacock, they had a ton of those matches in the library.
Yep.
Now I haven't checked Peacock recently because they update the library, but
They're working up, but there's
Yeah.
a lot more in there. I haven't checked.
But
lately,
I mean,
so.
it's just, folks. We could do what Jim did, even without the personal stories, and just talk about the Midnight Express for a good 2 hours. We could do that without any hesitation.
Would be
Definitely.
hard.
No, but Leroy, I know maybe you guys may want to talk more, but I think Alex is going to call you very soon. So
Sure.
what we're
Yeah,
going to do
we're
here is,
We'll give the
folks,
10 bell salute.
folks, after I found out he passed and I watched all the old stuff, I don't know if I can make another 2 hours doing this. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a 10 bells for one of the most deserving people on this show we've ever had to get
And
into.
I think we
And
give 10
it's-
bell salute for him and honor his wife.
yes,
Because she was there the whole time
Yep,
with him,
no,
too. So.
yep, absolutely.
Definitely rule.
Our hearts go out to his 3 kids, who I think all 3 are still alive.
Yeah.
Last I checked. To his daughter, who was going to be there for her dad and everything, and to all the people out there who weren't going to get to see him and Jim and Dennis and Stan go out for that 40-year reunion run and everything.
tough, man.
Oh, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here at 13 Cards, we set to rest the beautiful Mr. Nicest Man in Wrestling, the late great Bobby Eaton.
Hold on. Technical issues.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out. A little louder on the volume there, maybe. There we go. There we go.
There we go. Oh.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me take this
Yep.
phone call real quick.
Yep.
Keep going.
All right, so Jesse and I are gonna sort of transition here. I believe
Hello.
we have perhaps
Hello.
I think
That's Alex.
Alex Riley of DPW will be on the phone. We're gonna talk to him for a little bit.
That's gonna be a fun
Um,
show.
I turned on the mic, Leroy, so whenever you're ready. Yeah, the mic is on. So, but yeah, so we're gonna put him on speaker here.
Yeah, we got him on speaker.
Alex, you there?
I'm here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, from Discover Pro Wrestling, Alex Riley, General Manager. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show. Excited to be here.
Yep. We are 2 weeks out from a show that should have happened. I think 2 months ago was supposed to be the original situation here. But Alex, you have Eric brought you into DPW. How long ago now? You've been officially with them?
I've been with him here for the past couple of weeks, helping him with the final touches here for Discover Pro Wrestling, and coming on board as general manager, helping with the organization and overall operations of Discover Pro Wrestling. And I believe you mentioned the show was supposed to be about 2 months ago. I believe it was supposed to be a lot earlier than that. But to that, I always say good things happen to those who wait.
I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I do.
So, Alex, I mean, I'll just kind of get to the meat of the matter here. This is obviously, from what we promoted last year pre-pandemic, this is not the show that was originally planned card-wise. But it seems like everyone over there at DPW that we've talked to, that we've had on the show, everyone seems fairly optimistic that this is still going to deliver the same type of response for a first show. Is that kind of what you're getting over there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that unfortunately, with a lot of different changing schedules, a lot of postponed dates due to the pandemic, and social distancing guidelines and restrictions, vaccination policies, and what have you. Unfortunately, when dates get pushed back, schedules get changed around. Some people already have prior commitments that they're committed to because they thought the date was free.
Right.
And then when a date gets pushed back, unfortunately, there's a little bit of a decision to be made, and we can't really hold anybody against it for taking a booking on the day that we ended up moving to.
Right.
But that being said, even if it isn't the original card, as the old saying goes, card is subject to change in the world of professional wrestling.
There you go.
Even if it isn't the exact same card that was originally proposed for DPW 1, I'm still very confident about the card that we're putting together. I have a lot of faith in the talent that we are putting together here for August 22nd, and I think it's still going to be a great show.
Fantastic. So, we don't really like to have normal interviews, but I guess we'll give our fans a little bit of an intro into you. What's your past with the wrestling business? And then I guess, how did you come to be a part of this project that, again, I love Eric to death, but man, sometimes Eric works himself into a frenzy. So,
He does sometimes,
so
yes.
I mean, like, what's your background here? And then how did you come to work with such a unique project, especially in 2021?
Yeah, so a little background about me. I started getting into the wrestling business. I started training in wrestling in July of 2007, had my first match in March of 2008, so I am now in my 13th year in the professional wrestling business. And as I get older, as my bump card, as they say, starts to get a little bit maxed out, I've started to take a lot more different roles in professional wrestling, making myself more versatile in wrestling than being just a wrestler, because I know that unfortunately my body is not going to be able to deliver at the same rate that it was able to deliver when I was 18 years old.
Right.
But I think that at the same time, even if my body gives out with age, my mind increases with age. So I've taken a lot more responsibilities outside of wrestling, such as commentary, such as production, booking, managing, just kind of being a jack of all trades, if you would say anything.
Okay.
And so I've been involved in the booking committee for River City Championship Wrestling in La Crosse, Wisconsin, who's coming up on their 7th year in wrestling. Celebrating their anniversary actually the week before DPW, oddly enough. So that'll be fun. But then Eric brought me on just for my experience and bouncing ideas left and right, just in a general stance. And then he asked if I want to take more of a permanent role with those brainstorming ideas, and I accepted. And it's been an interesting ride so far, but it's been a welcome challenge so far.
Fantastic. So before I let Leroy and Jesse ask what they kind of want to ask, I've been burning to ask this ever since we talked about getting you on the show. And it might seem like a weird question, but if you need me to clarify, I will, but I might as well ask. So now that you're going to be sort of in this general manager role for DPW, and you've talked about getting more into the production of it, is there anything in wrestling that has, I guess, for lack of a better term, pissed you off that sort of drove you to get more involved in production? Is there anything about like that you want to see done a certain way that just kind of has bugged you, whether it's a small thing or a big thing? I mean, so I guess what do you really want to bring from a managerial standpoint that I guess you haven't seen somebody else do? Does that make sense?
No, that does, and that's a great question. I can't say there's one particular triggered moment that said, yep, I'm going to get into this because of moments like this. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now that I've taken a role with production that, opened my eyes to how other productions, like with TV tapings, such as the TV tapings that USA Championship Wrestling does down in the Memphis area, or observing production over in OVW in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I've kept aware of it, and it's one of those things that you don't necessarily notice if you're not paying attention to it. But once you start paying attention, you start to realize, oh, okay, everything's been in front of me this whole time, and I've just been oblivious to it. So I've definitely noticed a lot more things that maybe I wasn't paying attention to in the past. I would say there's more nitpicky things that just between my experiences and my dad being a perfectionist in his own right and living with a perfectionist and being raised by a perfectionist, the idea of you can do it right, or you can do it twice or 3 times or 4 times, etc. I think just a mix of that is just why I want to be more involved. I've always felt that I want to make sure I give back to the wrestling business and I leave it in a better place than when I found it in the first place.
All right,
man, great points. Alex, it's Jesse here. I don't have any informative question like that. I have a fun question for you, Alex, if you're ready.
Sure.
So
I like fun questions. One
of the wrestlers you guys now have on the roster is someone that, while he interests me, he's quite a character, and that's Mr. Paul Verk. Now, I saw that
we love some Paul Verk.
Now, I saw that you got the chance to talk with this incredibly talented young man to get him to sign with DPW. My question to you, sir, is how'd you like him?
I've only seen Paul Verk a handful of times before coming on to DPW.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he's a student out of the academy, School of Professional Wrestling over in the Twin Cities area.
Yeah.
Based on what I've seen, I've always been impressed by him. I think he definitely has a lot of potential. What he's going to bring to the table at DPW remains to be seen as we get into August 22nd. But I think that he has plenty of potential, and we'll see if he uses it when the time comes to ask for it.
You bet.
Leroy, you got anything?
All right. The one thing I want to talk about is what you put up on Instagram and Facebook is the title match, the ladder match. I know it was going to be a different format last year, and it was changed.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to talk about the 6 people that are going to be going for this. It's going to be a hell of a match. I love it.
Kind of to piggyback off Leroy, not to steal the question, but what went into which 6 guys you guys wanted to represent all of this?
There's a couple ladies.
Well, no, well, and that's fair.
Yeah.
So there are 6 people in the match. What was the process? I guess.
5 people. Okay, 5 people.
Yeah.
Mismo.
Yeah, there's 5. But yeah, because I mean, like first day out of the gate, you got to crown a champion. How do you just throw 5 people in there? There's no way that's a name out of a hat situation.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation when you're determining who deserves to really go up for the title when there is no previous champion. We talked about it earlier where this is not the original card that DPW1 had set in place back in the founding moments of Discover Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Things change, people's availability changes, and with that, matches change as a result. So initially the plan was to have an 8-man tournament, but you see it with the March Madness tournament all the time. You have the seeds for who's the number 1 seed versus who's the number 32 seed, if you will.
Yeah.
You determining who's got the best win-loss record, has the worst, who's in the middle, getting into the finer grains of, okay, this guy deserves number 15 over 16 because he has one more win over this guy.
Yeah.
Now, in DPW, it's a blank slate. There's no prior history of wins, losses, draws, etc. in DPW because this is the first show. So doing a tournament is tough because you really have to make that question of who deserves to be the number 1 seed, who deserves to be the number 8 seed. So instead of breaking it down into a tournament standpoint, we decided to just scrap the tournament altogether, put one match to earn the title, and then add a little stipulation to it in the ladder match, just so it's different. And the biggest thing is to make sure that Discover Pro Wrestling is different. It's not a promotion that you can see everything that we're offering here in Duluth just right down the corner, because there's a lot of that in professional wrestling, is that somebody might highlight that, oh well, we're the best talent and the best company in the area. Okay, but I just saw all the same guys doing the exact same thing an hour away from you. How are you going to be different?
Right.
Well, we're in a different city. Okay, got it. Thank you. So the big thing was to be different, to stand out. So having a ladder match for the first ever title opportunity, where the title will be up for grabs. It won't be determined in a tournament. It will be 5 fresh people competing, and the decision to go into that was based on who we originally had our sights set on for the tournament. People like Vieira, people like Valentina Loca, but at the same time also adding people that are making a huge name for themselves and have done really great things in these past couple of years, like Bulletproof Ben McCoy. What a story that he has.
Yeah.
And what a year that he's had. For example, wrestling against WWE Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam back in April.
Yep.
You got Isaiah Moore, who is a very young talent, but has made a huge impact in places like AAW down in Illinois. And then you have Levy Cruz, who has been around Minnesota for so long, has done so many great things. So essentially, when you look at who deserves to be in that first title match, those 5 people really stood out as, this will be different, this will be unique, and as a result, these 5 people deserve to be in this title match.
Wow. All right. Okay, so it's interesting because you brought up the word there a couple of times, different. Now, there's an old saying, being different is good, but being different just for the sake of being different can sometimes be a little too much. What makes that word make sense to Discover Pro Wrestling, and what kind of different can fans of DPW expect when when this show comes out, and then obviously future shows going forward?
That's a great question and a really great point. That being different for being different is just, our referees are gonna wear red shirts instead of black and white. It's unique, but I get it. You have CZW that has the yellow shirt.
Shirts.
For example, just something. It's different, but you understand why it's different.
Yeah.
But just saying, well, we're gonna have snakes as our ropes. It's like, that's different, but that just doesn't make. I don't understand the logic.
No.
There's something for you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a match like that or a death match like that in existence, but snakes as the ropes and the ring is not something that we have planned here in the future for DPW.
Okay.
Okay. To get back to the question, though, how is this going to be different? How is it going to be unique? A lot of that is, still incorporating some of the talents that the Minnesota area is familiar with, but at the same time introducing Duluth and northern Minnesota and Minnesota in general to to a talent pool that they may not be familiar with. For example, Bulletproof Ben McCoy, to my knowledge, has not wrestled a ton in Minnesota. I think he might have wrestled for Steel Domain Wrestling a handful of times, but really outside of that, not too many places. Isaiah Moore, for example, is another example of that. Sierra's done a few shows for Steel Domain, but outside of that, not too many other shows. Joey Avalon is an amazing talent in the Midwest area that doesn't get a ton of is getting more exposure in Minnesota, but still not quite as much where he would be considered a Minnesota mainstay, if you will.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And then you have some people that like a Paul Burke or a Coda Jacobs that people know that they got their roots in Minnesota. So it's that melting pot that allows people to say, all right, well, there's some familiar faces that I recognize, but they're facing people that I've never seen. So I'm interested to see how my guy pairs up against this brand new guy and what they're going to bring to the table, because a fan can now see these matches come together, and they may not necessarily have all the answers of who they think is going to win, because it's impossible to determine who is going to win with an opponent you've never seen before.
Wow.
That
And
is true.
it's interesting, but like I said, you don't always just want to be different just to say you're different. But I mean, like I do think it's really hard nowadays, especially with the internet, to find guys like that don't have that. But when you go to a local setting, there's an opportunity for that.
Yes,
so,
of course.
So I mean, that's a very unique way of looking at it. So obviously it's a different card. It's all this other stuff. But was there any talk about trying to, I guess, go back to a format? Because to my knowledge right now, there's not a lot of, I guess you could say, special guest appearances outside of maybe local indie guys or just indie names.
Yeah.
But was there talk? Was there a franticness to search out for maybe some bigger stars when obviously guys like War Beast were no longer available due to travel stuff or just due to timing? Or did you guys always have a thought process that we're going to make this as big as we can with the people that we have?
Well, I won't lie to you guys. There has been discussions with some big name talents, just general talking and just gauging interest, availability, and etc. But I don't think there was really ever a plan to have a special guest like somebody of a former WWE or AEW or Impact name for the first show. I mean, understandably, it is a great opportunity to get people in the door that may recognize this big name talent, and therefore going to go check it out regardless of what else is happening. However, the idea that I had going into this was if we start the foundation with a big name talent, then there's an asterisk attached to the big draw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the big draw may not be there for the second show because insert special guest here isn't here the second time.
Right.
So the idea is to build the foundation purely on our foundation, to build it on the talent that is getting us here, that is bringing us to the dance, that's going to keep the show going. And as a result, let's make them the stars of the show. Let's have their stars shine in front of the fans in Duluth at the Clyde Ironworks.
Yeah.
And then if we have a special guest, then we go from a great show to an amazing show.
Okay.
And even then, with our founding members and our founding talent, let's have an amazing show, even be an even more amazing show, or a word that does not exist but indicates something better than the best, if that makes sense.
Oh no!
No,
100%.
fundamentally, everything you're saying right now makes perfect sense in the wrestling business. It really does, especially when you're building a company. Now, my last question to you is about the Clyde Ironworks. Are you guys kind of thinking that's going to be home base of operations as far as most of your shows are concerned? We never got the chance to really ask Eric, but yeah, I figured I'd ask you.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, Clyde Ironworks, it sounds like it's going to be our home, our starting base as of late. I know that Eric has some pretty lofty ambitions set for expanding
Yes, he does.
DPW, and at the same time, no disrespect intended, with that statement, I think it's great that Eric is very ambitious what he wants to do with Discover Pro Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think it's great that he already is thinking 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, because a lot of people just look at what the first show is and, hey, let's just see if we even make it to intermission on this one, and we'll see what happens at this point. And you know, a lot of people are just like, the next show will be, oh, I didn't know, I didn't have a plan. I didn't think I'd get this far.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about having a bigger plan, you know, a phase 1, a phase 2, phase 3, etc., is you have an idea of where you want to go, and then you can backtrack and understand, all right, if we want to get here, here are the steps that we need to take to get to there. So I know that Eric has his sights set on some great venues and some great locations in the future, but as of right now, the plan is Clyde Iron Works, Sunday, August 22nd. I believe that is the home for the second show that is coming up at the end of 2021, and moving forward for some of the first few shows for DPW.
Yep.
So a very long-winded answer, but yes, Clyde Iron Works is going to be the home base of operations, at least for now. But there are some places in the future that we're looking at, and hopefully we can expand. I know that Eric was also looking to try to have whoever our first DPW champion is be represented at other companies and establish a network of sorts. So that way so we're not acting like Discover Pro Wrestling is the only promotion that exists ever in the plane of existence.
Fair enough.
You know, so, you know, I believe that we're working with Frontline Pro over in northern Wisconsin and talking with them about having the Frontline Pro title represented on August 22nd, just to establish this network of sorts, and try to let people know and discover pro wrestling. You know, that's more than just a name. It is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right.
We're trying to get people to discover more than just the talent they see in front of them, but to make them aware that, hey, there's these other great companies in the area. You should check them out. You should be aware of them, and you should see what they have to offer, because we're just going to give you a taste, but you probably want the whole plate by the end of the day.
Fair enough.
That's true. Yeah.
Anything else?
The only thing I want to add is we're going to a local show down south later next Sunday, but then that Sunday we're going to be able to do a podcast at Clyde.
Yes.
Beforehand, and hopefully, if Alex is available over there, that maybe he can pop on for a couple minutes.
You're busy, you know.
If he's not busy, he may be a busy guy.
I understand you'll
that day,
be a
I'm not
busy
sure.
mind, but the one thing I'll warn you about, Alex, is on that day, from basically when we all get up about 7 a.m., that's nothing but DPW for us all day. So we're available
yes,
virtually
it's gonna
until
be.
8:30. So just a fair warning there.
Yeah.
So I guess the best way for me to, because I understand that you are about to jump into a service here for Burt Prentice, which is a wonderful thing to celebrate today. You know,
Gotta do work.
but I guess the last thing, like I said, we don't like to do this on the show too much, but the cheesy thing is, what's your pitch for DPW for people out there that can find you guys? Obviously, we've promoted them on DiscoverProWrestling.com is the thing, but I mean, I guess what's your pitch for Warmth of Warfare?
I would just say to anybody that's still on the fence, we'll be over at the Clyde Iron Works on Sunday, August 22nd. We have a great amount of wrestling action coming your way at the Clyde Iron Works in Duluth, Minnesota. We have a great amount of talent, a lot of matches that you might not see anywhere else in the independent levels or anywhere else, especially not in Duluth. It's going to be the first time ever that a lot of these matches will have happened or might ever happen in the future. So be a part of history with Discover Pro Wrestling on our inaugural show, Warmth of Warfare. The main event is a ladder match. How many times you get to see a ladder match in the independent level show? So that itself is worth the price of admission alone. We have some great sponsors that are working with us, and a lot of community partners that believe in what we're doing. So that shows not only that we must be doing something right in the community, but hopefully that we're doing something right with the rest of the world of professional wrestling. And we have a lot of talent that definitely believes in the cause, very excited, very amped for Sunday, August 22nd. So I think that you're going to see a lot of positive energy going into the beginning of the show to the end of the show. And I certainly hope everybody packs the place within safe social distancing parameters, of course.
Yes.
As we start to see the Delta variant start to surface its ugly head.
Yep.
But we're going to stay safe. We're going to have a great time. Hope you join us, and hopefully you're a fan once the bell rings.
All right. Well, Alex, first of all, thank you so much for your time. Obviously, as I said, you have something coming up here. We thank you for the time that you did give us. We will definitely try to get you on in the future. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yep. You have a great day.
You have a good one.
You too. Take care.
All right. So, all right. Fantastic. That was great. We can't wait. August 22nd, Clyde Ironworks, Warmth of Warfare.
Definitely promote ourselves.
Oh, shamelessly promote ourselves.
We are proud
gonna be there and a proud sponsor.
We will be there.
Does Eric have the money yet, or are you just gonna hand it to him that day?
He's been so goddamn busy.
You should message him soon so he's got the money.
Well,
ready
he
for us.
was heading down the cities. He was gonna try to get on, but he couldn't.
So, but no, I think that
we'll be there.
I think it's worth mentioning that we all were very hyped up about the previous card.
Without a doubt.
Oh, yes. And here's the deal. I want to preface this because it's going to go into our next topic here. Well, yeah, a future topic here on the show today. But people got to understand, COVID changed a lot of things.
Unfortunately.
A lot of things happened. A lot of things got messed up. I think that people need to be a little more forgiving about live entertainment than they have been. I don't think you're seeing it as much as, in my opinion, it should be. I think that what you get for right now, you should kind of just enjoy because this is the best that they can do.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily saying that you're paying your money, just sit down and shut up. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have to understand that there literally is only so much that can be done in this post-COVID world that we're living in, because again, despite what some people think, we are not even close to really out of the woods with this situation.
No.
So I think I'm excited no matter what, but here's the deal. The way that he talks and the way that he came off was just, some of the names probably might not even be known by our audience, no matter how much we've tried to cover the indies.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't mean the show's not going to be an absolute banger by the end of the night.
Oh, it's going to be a great show. I have no doubts this is going to be a hell of a time.
Just the handful of people that I know that we have seen at other promotions at MAW and a few other ones we go to. I mean, it's hopefully this thing will work.
Awesome.
This show is going to be awesome.
I also
definitely.
All right, you know what? We're going to get that out of the way quickly. Next week, no show because we are going down to Bash at the Lift Bridge in Stillwater, Minnesota for MAW. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Redbeard had to pull out due to reasons of the main event versus Stephan Bonner. Yes, that's the same UFC legend, Stephan Bonner. But a replacement was just announced yesterday on the official Facebook page of MAW. If you haven't seen it,
we got 10 pounds of gold.
Ladies and gentlemen,
coming to the 10,000 lakes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
if that doesn't give you an idea who it is.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I want to JR this properly because JR said it even when he was in WWE. The world's heavyweight champion is going to be gracing us with his presence. Perhaps one of the best in the business since he got to NWA and its resurgence. Ladies and gentlemen, the man himself will be there, Nick Aldis. And when I saw that, I looked at myself and said, well, okay, I know what I'm doing on Sunday.
I'm just going to say, as soon as I saw the news.
Did you see the news on their thing, or did I send it to you?
On their site, I actually saw it. You sent it to me. I figured you would.
I saw it in post.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to say, I reached out. So as you can see, I've been checking my phone.
Okay, all right.
Waiting for the second response.
Yes.
And I'm just saying I reached out.
Okay.
So while we might not have a regular show.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
If I could just get 10 minutes.
Oh my Lord.
But we'll see what happens.
Yep. As the heavyweight champion of worlds.
Oh my goodness.
He's a very busy man.
He's as classy as they come.
Oh yes.
See, unfortunately, I was stuck alone at work. With no other wrestling fan but myself. So I'm sitting on break, wigging out, going. Oh!
Let me point something out. Allison does not know Nick Aldis from anyone else.
Yeah.
She barely knows NWA. But when I said the NWA World's Champion, she at least knows that. Even she turned around and was like, "Oh,
You,
oh."
you know, it'd be
So-
great. You know, it'd be great to see his wife there, but she's an announcer, so probably won't see her.
What? You never know.
You know, it'd be good.
I mean,
it'd be
technically,
All I got-
the tapings for Impact are just about
Yep.
done. So
I
you
just-
don't
you
know.
never
I just want to point something out.
Oh.
The American Psycho versus the National Treasure, and he is a national
He is
treasure.
a world treasure.
I don't know when I'm gonna do that. Nick Aldis.
My goodness.
We got Mark Henry, where I can accomplish meeting, and you boys in Philly love him for this. Every single member of
the
the original
Yeah.
Nation of Domination.
Nation of Domination.
Oh yeah.
We don't want the new version because the new version includes Jason and Leroy.
Well, I'm not going to go that far up, but the one right after it has Dwayne. I don't think I'm going to meet Dwayne.
We're not there yet. All right?
But I'm going
We're
to meet
not
the
there
four
yet.
original. I am so lucky. And then, and I'll give a shout out
I
for
think we
Dalton.
had-
For Dalton from work, one of his favorite classic female wrestlers, Kelly Kelly, will be there. I told him I'm going to get him.
Formerly known as Kelly.
Formerly known as Kelly Kelly.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
First, I'm
like
gonna pay for
so
a
damn-
photo just to piss people off.
First of all,
I'm not
MAW
too much
puts
money
on,
is going to get spent.
Yeah, first of all, MAW puts on a great show regardless. End of
Yes,
story. We're not even going to have that
yes.
question.
I am going to have to sit down with Dave and ask him
Yeah.
real quickly, how the heck did you get him here?
Oh my goodness.
What strings did you pull and you were
my.
awesome?
Oh,
And
I'm
what are you going to
sure-
do us next?
I'm sure he had to talk to Mr. Billy Corgan. There
Oh, yeah.
to do
I
everything.
think so.
a little
Oh, my
bit.
God.
But I can't wait for that. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Jesse, any closing thoughts on the 10 pounds of gold? Jesse, you will be in the presence of the 10 pounds of gold.
It's funny because now going back to shows with you guys, I feel like I'm getting closer to my goal that by sometime, hopefully at the end of this year, I will get to have my one-on-one with the king, with the king, Jay White. So
Oh.
Nick Aldis, I feel, gets me closer. So first off, I'm thrilled to see him wrestle.
Yes.
But second off, like I said, I've reached out. So while we don't have a regular show,
Yeah.
we're gonna see what happens.
We're going to see what happens.
Maybe I
folks.
luck out.
Yep.
We can kneel the whole 15 minutes if we get him for 15 minutes.
If we have to, then we have to.
And we will let Marty Skrull know you never deserved a title shot and you were beaten cleanly. Also,
Anyway,
and also,
Marty's got nothing better to do but listen to guys like us. So.
and also, I cannot believe he will actually be in Minnesota. To me, that's huge.
The NWA, people have to understand, this is AWA country.
Yeah.
This is an ancient rivalry between the American Wrestling Association and the
Yeah.
National Wrestling Association.
Like this is
So-
crazy. Now Billy's taking it, national again. I mean, they've done some shows in Cali and stuff like that, but
obviously.
Minnesota is becoming. I said it a couple years ago when we went to a show together that me and you, Zach, or I met you at a show, that Minnesota is starting to become the pro wrestling hub I always hoped it would be.
Yes.
Especially with Heavy On Wrestling and things of that nature down in the cities.
Well, Heavy On's up here. But
Heavy
yeah.
On's
Heavy
up
On's
here.
up
And they
here,
go,
sorry,
they go
sorry.
around on Duluth.
But
in
the other one
Minnesota.
that Darren also works for down there.
First Wrestling. First Wrestling.
Is becoming a really big wrestling hub, which is huge, with names like Ken Anderson, the
Yeah.
great now Hall of Famer Molly Holly. And I'm like, that's a beautiful
You want to
thing,
talk
'cause
about
you
the
used to have to
nicest
travel
man in
east and
professional
west.
wrestling who we just talked. Not to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
you want to talk about the nicest man in professional wrestling that we just lost in Bobby Eaton? How about possibly the nicest woman involved in professional wrestling in the great Molly Holly,
Oh,
just an
there we go.
absolute sweetheart to
Well,
everyone.
And remember, you're reaching out. I mean, and people can reach out to us a little bit closer too. And you guys got to get this on here. We are on Twitter.
Yes.
We are on Twitter.
I said I would never do it, but for this show, I will do it because
You can look us up. 13.
boy, do I hate Twitter. But you know what?
Well, I'm not sure. It's like 13 cards, or it's at 13 cards.
It's going to be at 13 cards.
Or
Yep.
at 13 cards, lower hash, whatever it is,
Yep.
13.
Yes.
Look us up.
Underscore.
I've been
Underscore
Is it
13.
underscore?
Yeah, it's
That's
underscore,
what it is.
yep.
Yeah, technically, yeah. Look for us up. I'm going to follow in a few people. You guys got to get, I don't know if you want.
I
you
have a
got
Twitter,
on?
so I'll follow you.
We'll talk about it.
Well, you can add on that, and you can
For sure.
play around because it's us.
Yes.
We'll
So
talk
we can
about
have
it.
fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
talk about it. So now we got to move into some stuff here. This is going to be an interesting topic because I think we really need to calm the world down a little bit. The WWE has announced not just a new round of cuts, which I think was actually less Nick Khan than people think. Now from what I've read,
We're going to get into it.
but ladies and gentlemen, the WWE has cut a large amount, mostly of NXT talent.
Yes.
It is reported that NXT is now going to be going back to the older format of developmental. They're not going to try to make it into its own brand, which I think are good and bad. There's pros and cons to this, but I think this is also Vince saying maybe he's going to put a little more effort into Raw, which Jesse's been praying for the last 2 years. SmackDown we know is great, but I think you can never have enough great established talent on these big shows. Folks,
do you want me to get a rundown of
you know what?
cut yet or not yet?
You know what? Before we do that, before we do that, I just want to point something out. And Jesse has said this, and I think it's time that we expand and we get people to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2020, the world experienced something that no one really alive had ever experienced. A worldwide pandemic of a disease that we had never seen before, that we have no cure for. There's now a vaccine. That's a whole other topic we're not about to get into.
Yeah.
And by the way, folks, there's about 45,000 other diseases out there we haven't discovered yet. The rainforest is filled with things we haven't seen yet. But the fact of the matter is this.
Be careful if you go there.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is this. The WWE, up until, I think, the start of 2021, had about 200 wrestlers under contract. From all the way from developmental to Raw to SmackDown to the UK to all those places. Before we get into Vince's love or whatever you want to call it of NXT in and of itself, the fact of the matter is this. COVID-19 was a simple idea of a disease. Somebody gets it, they might not know it. But when they find out, they have to quarantine for 14 days. However, because of how easily it spread, 14 days could extend to anyone who was within close contact of this person. So if one wrestler came down with it and was in the training room with like 20 other people, now you got 20 to 30 people that are off your television or gone for up to 2 weeks. Yeah. So this large mass signing was one of the most different mass signings you ever saw. This was not a move to keep talent away from other people. This was a move to make sure that you have a show. Because I'll be honest with you, NXT early on in 2020, I don't think a lot of those people would have been on NXT television if not for COVID.
Probably not.
Leon Ruff being one of them, and I know Leon was one of the cuts, but Leon, in my opinion, got farther than I think anybody thought. So I think Leon's going to have a nice return down to the Indies, especially with what he got to do up there. But before we get into the intricate Khan and McMahon, conspiracy theories, folks, there's a business aspect to all of this, okay? And there's an aspect of we didn't know what COVID was going to be. We didn't know if Raw or SmackDown was for the first time in 15 or 20 years not going to be on television. We didn't know. So at some point, regardless of what they're making in terms of what the quarter annual reports say, there's a certain amount of money that you set aside to pay your talent, whether it's professional baseball or it's professional wrestling. So before we get into our personal feelings about how we felt about cuts and how we think it's going to be in the future, we have to at least be fair on that assessment. We can't just deny that that's not a large component to why, just in 2021, 52 wrestlers have left the WWE Performance Center and or the roster due to the fact that for a year there, nobody knew what the hell was going to happen. We didn't know if we could do this show because there was folks, people forget, there was a point in time where we were all under the impression that it was in place 14 days. Mm-hmm. You cannot leave your home. You cannot open your front door. All the shops would be closed. All the, gas stations and grocery stores and the hospitals would have shut down. People don't realize that was a thought. Looking back, despite all the craziness that has happened, forward, we could, it was probably the best decision, but we didn't know. I remember the night before Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, was going to make his very first announcement. I remember leaving work and saying, okay, what do I got to buy? What do I got to spend money on? What do I got to make sure we have in case we're sitting there for 2 weeks and I'm unable to do anything? So, again, I am not going to just gloss over what Jesse's going to go into here in a second, and Leroy as well, about these cuts. But I want to be very clear that that is a component whether people like it or not. And that has to be said before we get into our personal feelings, because on this show, we're not going to sit here and create a narrative. We're going to go off what is a fact and then maybe put out theories of what we think. But we're not here to push any real narrative that is immediately against one person or one company, when at the end of the day, the other company is not spending their own money. They're spending daddy's money. That's not me trying to make a joke. That is actually a fact, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll talk about a lot of stuff involving Spot Monkey here after we get through these cuts. But the fact of the matter is this, is that when you're not spending your own money and the person giving you the money basically gave you a blank check to say, do what you want, I don't care, it's a different mindset than you're spending the money you're making. Because that's ultimately what WWE is doing. Vince does not have capital like a Tony Khan. Tony Khan goes to Daddy, asks for money, he gets it. Because Daddy has just gotten to a point where he doesn't care what they do with the money. That's what Shad Khan has chosen to do.
Shad Khan has generational wealth. But
exactly.
That's true.
I'm not even going to start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back, because while I agree with Zach's premise, I'm still going to go in.
Which is fair.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you. Now, patriarch has a different meaning now, but you are the patriarch of this show, Mr. Leroy.
Oh, jeez.
It is your baby, and I know you definitely have a love for NXT. So I'm going to sit back in the cut, sir, and I'm going to let you go ahead and express your thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the cuts, or do you want to do your thoughts first? It's entirely up to you.
No, I'll do my thoughts, and I'll go into the cuts.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like cuts happen. I mean, people see everybody on TV, but they got to forget. They have to not forget about everybody that's behind the scenes.
Correct.
There's a lot of people in production and everything that they're doing their best and trying. We don't know how many of them have lost their job. And
the fact of the matter is nobody ever expresses, feelings when somebody who's basically their 9-to-5 job was putting up the ring or taking down the ring.
Correct.
So the fact of the matter is that you want to sit here, and I've seen this in the PWL, I've seen this on chats.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a
subreddits.
story that Charles Robinson, Little Nate, was actually doing ring teardown.
Oh, I saw him do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him
Zach
do it.
saw him do it. So.
Yeah, no, but
but
the fact is that we have to premise this. You can't sit there and post anywhere, subreddit or whatever, that, well, these are human beings at the end of the day. I'm like, so are the people that are not on TV. So's the camera guy doing this, doing that. And by the way, a little side note for me, I finally went back and watched SmackDown. Jesus Christ, I didn't realize there was a spotlight on me the entire goddamn night when they were just doing this shit. So, like, my God,
yes,
when they went to the camera.
Yes, there was. Holy crap.
I was just like, I was probably in about 3/4 of the show. I'm not even kidding.
If you haven't, go back and watch it.
Right.
Trust me.
Okay.
You just look off to the one side when the hard camera's there and the camera's over this way a little bit. There's Zach.
I'm just there.
Like,
I was shocked. I was actually like, oh my God.
And then wait a minute. Then it was like, there's Zach and Allison.
Yeah.
Then there's Zach. I did see your lovely fiance also there, wigging out and acting like you guys are acting like two little schoolgirls.
Damn straight.
During the show. And I love it.
But anyway, yep.
I mean, a lot of the people, some of the people, yeah, I knew, and they were on TV. But some of these, they weren't featured that often. They weren't on that much. I mean, so it happened.
Leon Ruff hadn't been on NXT in a good month or two.
It was quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of it was a shock. I mean,
yes.
Go down the line here. It's Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Jake Atlas, Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, Leon Ruff, Stephon Smith, Tyler Russ,
Rust
Zeke
was missing
Smith, Asher Hale.
Rust looked good,
Yeah.
but there was something about him I didn't get. He looked like a guy that I didn't think needed a mic, but when they gave him a mic, I'm saying to myself, okay, someone doesn't like what this kid says, and I think that's affecting him.
Yeah.
So I Rust, in my opinion, could have had something, But maybe when somebody was watching him more day to day, maybe they saw what I was trying to put
Very
the pieces
possible.
together with.
Yeah.
So Russ to me was not a surprise. The only surprise was that he was in the Diamond Mine, which had just debuted.
Yeah.
Bobby Fish, I love Bobby Fish, but I'm sorry, the injury bug killed Bobby Fish.
Unfortunately.
That's it. Jesse, I know you have your stuff to say. I know you
Well,
love Bobby.
him, I'll just say this: he's also 40 plus, a lot of injuries. Not super shocked. Not a guy who's
Well,
ever
it's
going to
like-
go up to the main roster.
Who-
Availability matters.
Who is
And Bobby just didn't have it.
Giant Zangier?
He was
What's
a
that
PC talent that he was one of the 62 Indian talents that they signed.
Okay,
when
yeah,
they were gonna start WWE India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mercedes Martinez.
Mercedes, I think I'm okay with because here's the deal. If they weren't going to put the belt on her early, she's not someone that can hang around a mid-card because she's so talented.
Yes.
And that might sound stupid and crazy, but Mercedes, in my opinion, if she wasn't going to work with the top people, if she wasn't going to have a long run with Raquel, I'd love to see Mercedes go do something else. I would love to see her go to NWA. I would love to see her go fix this AEW division because you think Kenny Omega's going to look Mercedes Martinez in the face and tell her to go do that stupid
I
shit?
think she'll actually end up in NWA. I hope I don't see her on Wednesday
NWA.
nights.
I
Yeah.
do. I hope so.
Her and Camilla would be a hell of a
Yeah, for sure.
Situation.
Well,
Yes.
Camilla will probably be all elite at some point soon.
Yeah.
But all right, you're
Ready?
right. Cuts happen.
Yep.
Okay, and yes, there is a business side to
Yes.
this. Let me tell you what this is really about. Let's throw the theories out.
No,
we're
that's
gonna
fine.
throw the theories out.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I originally, when you guys first had me on the show, one of the things I said that kind of still pissed me off about WWE at that point in time
Yes.
was the hoarding of talent.
Yeah.
This is before COVID,
Yeah.
where they just signed everyone. That was pre-COVID. They just hoarded talent.
Yeah.
Now I don't listen. People are like, well, they're keeping talent away, and I'm like, from who? There was no AEW at the time.
I agree.
There was not. They were signing people.
I agree.
Now maybe in grand scheme, maybe Vince had this idea of influx of talent, because back then you had guys like Daniel Bryan and people like that, AJ Styles. Hey man, every now and then, because they're getting in their 40s.
Yeah.
Man, I would like to take a few months off. So maybe, between him and Triple H, they were like, well, why don't we get an influx of fresh talent
Yeah.
to what we'll do is we'll almost do it seasonally.
You were never a fan of this even
No.
before it was,
No.
hey, here's a raise, whether it was Jericho
Yeah.
or whether it was COVID.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear, folks. Jesse has never been a fan of the size of that roster.
No.
And that is one of your biggest gripes about
Yeah.
well, actually, it's interesting. Even though you were the AEW guy before, obviously, they had a show, there was one thing that you always told me was the only problem you had before you saw the product was every day they were announcing somebody else.
When you have a roster that big, at some point you're going to mass fire a lot of people because you're not using them, period. And at some point you're going to go, I'm paying too much money for all this talent. Like I said, while he's taking daddy's money, that decision's going to come soon.
Yes.
Because you get so far in the red.
Marcus did the math. Without counting the female roster, which we don't know because there's so many girls in and out, 73 guys currently.
By the way, and that's those that are actually signed, not the ones who are taking checks from the Rhodes families for being in the wrestling academies.
Yeah.
But
Because you know that Tony's supporting the Nightmare
Well,
Factory.
for sure.
You know that.
I mean, Dustin doesn't need him, but I'm sure he is.
No, I know.
But
I agree, yeah.
so yeah, I was never a fan of the hoarding of talent to begin with, because I'm like, you have all these people, and yet you keep doing these same stories. At some point, you're gonna have to fire a lot of people, and you're gonna look like an asshole. Now, let me get to these NXT cuts, because they put out there. Unfortunately for Vince, he opened his mouth because he has to talk to his investors.
Yes.
Now, I'm a small investor in WWE. At some point, I would like to be a bigger investor so I
Yes.
can hear these phone calls myself. Because he said, and to quote heel Michael Cole, and I quote, well, hopefully we never see that again, and I quote.
That was hard to watch. I mean, it was funny, but it got painful
It
after a while.
got painful real
Holy
quick.
crap, was that painful. Whew.
He once said that He believes in fresh young talent because he understands that his main guys are getting older. They don't want to wrestle all the time.
He's also talking to investors, but
He's also talking to investors.
Yeah.
But he also mentioned, like 6 months ago, he mentioned Bobby Lashley, which is why I thought he was losing the championship at WrestleMania. Now, of course, things change. Life changes constantly. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
But here is my problem with all these cuts.
Yeah.
He gave autonomy to Nick Khan. Now, Nick Khan, I'll put it this way for people. Nick Khan is what we would call in the NFL, if he was a GM of a team, he's a cap guy.
Yes.
He's a guy that looks at the budget, and he makes his decisions based on the budget.
And here's the thing, though. I don't think they're lying when they say budget cuts. People get angry because they saw the $200 million quarter earnings. But the fact is that here's the deal, Jesse.
So here, actually, let me cut you off real quick.
How much are the Cowboys worth?
Well, they're worth closer to $10 billion, but it says 6.5.
But that's my point. Even if it was a soft cap, Jerry is an oil guy. There's a cap to how much money he wants to spend to find the oil. Even if it was a soft cap, the NBA is a soft cap, but they still only want to spend them.
Here's the thing for him, though. If the Cowboys didn't work and they didn't win those Super Bowls, he was out of money.
Exactly.
Like, people don't realize, back in the 90s, if they don't win those Super Bowls, Jerry's fucked, for lack of a better term.
Well, but even your Jets have capped on us on.
Well, here's
the
thing, though. They're also in New York City.
Yeah,
we're gonna go. Even if, as the Knicks have proven the last 10 years, even if we hate the damn team, we're gonna go. But unlike LA, we actually do love our sports teams.
But the thing is that even if they don't report a cap. Because remember, baseball has no cap.
Baseball has no cap.
The basis of Moneyball, for people that I've said on the show before, but
just watched it again recently, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, he went to a billionaire. He did. And he asked for not that much more money. But the billionaire did. See, this is the difference between Steve Ballmer and Glenn Taylor in Minnesota, who Glenn Taylor has now sold to Mark Lohr and Alex Rodriguez.
Yes.
You can't buy a sports team and expect it to be successful unless you invest.
Yes.
Steve Ballmer invested day one.
Yeah.
New arena, back out where they had the old Lakers arena. He went out and got 2 stars that cost him a lot of money.
But he was also a fan of the team as someone who used to be a CEO for Microsoft.
Right.
So he had the investments to do that.
Right. But my point is that you're still always having in the back of your mind, there is an X amount I want to spend to get there.
Correct.
It doesn't matter if you're worth $70 billion, because remember, Steve Ballmer is the richest owner in sports. It's not even close.
Yeah.
He's the 3rd richest man in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe 4th now that the whole new thing came out, because I know Bezos isn't number 1 anymore.
I think he's still top 10.
Yeah, he's up there. Top 5, probably.
Yeah.
If Bezos was only 138, 78 ain't that far from 138. It's about double. But here's the deal. There is an amount you're willing to spend.
Yes.
And this is going to be a theme today. When you're spending someone else's money and there's no cap, boy howdy will you just about spend money on anything. And you know what? Michael Jordan got a nice little check from Tony Khan. We'll explain here in a little bit. But the fact of the matter is this. Nick Khan is taking the fall for what WWE has decided is their own personal cap.
Now here's what I was getting into with Nick Khan. So he's, like I said, he's a cap guy.
No relation, by the way.
No, actually, no.
Yeah, surprisingly.
No, surprisingly.
Looks a lot like Tony.
I think they're lying. I think they're family.
They've got
We'd have to do some research.
Yeah,
or we could be racist. You never know. But
I'm not racist.
Because they're all from the Middle East. So
I just hit everyone equally. So
I agree with you there.
All right, go ahead, Jesse.
But Nick Khan is a cap guy.
Yeah.
I think he was on ABC television and things like that before. Cap CEO, basically knowing when to cut shows, things of that nature. No problem. That's what Disney sometimes pay you for. Now, here's why I say it relates to Disney. And I was just speaking about this, I think, a week ago.
Okay.
Where, of course, Disney now has a new CEO.
Yes.
Now, Bob Chapek has made some terrible ass decisions in the year. Now, once again, COVID barring, okay, even outside of those decisions, they are currently in a lawsuit with one of their biggest stars because he, as a CEO, failed where the previous CEO would have succeeded with talent relations.
Yes.
Nick Khan is not going to have any talent relations with these guys. Now, to break down what happened to Bray Wyatt, while Bray Wyatt is a massive merchandise mover,
Yes.
probably he's always in their top 2. He was always in their top 2.
Yes.
And now, of course, they have to get rid of all of it. So if you want Fiend stuff, go get it now.
And for those of you
while it's
saying,
on sale for like
and for those of you
60%
saying,
off.
Oh yeah, definitely.
and for those of you saying, why are they still selling merchandise? I'm like, why are they still selling Steve Austin shirts? Steve hasn't wrestled in 30 years.
Well, Steve is also on a Legends contract, so he makes a ton
Well,
of
but
money
Steve's
off of
never
that.
going to go anywhere else anyway.
Yeah. No.
Do you realize, no bullshit, how much money Tony Khan would have to pay to get Steve Austin on that show?
He doesn't have enough. I think.
They have enough to maybe pay Brock Lesnar, but that's it.
Well, but Brock's never cared about loyalty, but
No.
Brock doesn't care about anybody but his family, which, again, I've defended is
Yeah.
fine with me.
Yeah, it's fine.
I got no issue with it.
The whole get your money thing.
Yeah.
But I like I said,
Which is why I agree with Gene. Adam Cole, if they are willing to sign you, you get as much as you damn well
and,
can.
and Vince will probably pay him what he needs to.
Yeah.
When I heard that, Vince personally met with you,
Yes. If Vince is forced to sit in front of your matches, Vince will finally, in my opinion, because again, Vince is not stupid. I think Vince will finally sit there and see, okay, this is Shawn Michaels minus the drugs.
yeah,
Yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
can't not see the glory that is Adam Cole, baby.
and he's only 34, 35 years old, so he's in
Adam,
his prime.
no, here's my thing though. In my opinion, the way that he works, Adam Cole
Baby.
could get 6 years out of a main roster run,
Oh, yeah.
and it would be phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
6 years.
which is
get
why I told people, why would he go to AEW before he now?
I
got
understand
the
that
meeting with
his
Vince.
friends are down there, but here's the thing:
his
Adam
girlfriend.
Cole.
Baby.
Here's the thing about
Where's my little girl?
Yeah. Here's the thing about pro wrestling. There's something to be said, and we'll get into this when we talk about AEW in its entirety. There's something to be said in the world of professional wrestling that, yes, you can make $1 million. But guess what? There's something to be said about how they promote an Adam Cole.
Can you say it?
Adam
Who's
Cole.
an Adam Cole? Baby. You're not going to do it?
No, okay.
Oh, she's
Oh
not
my
gonna
God,
do it.
she's being shy. Where's your brother?
But anyway,
Where's your brother?
but anyway, Jesse, there's something to be said about how you're presented.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing.
Because remember, Stone Cold left because of the presentation of one night. Imagine what.
I know. But here's the thing, though.
Also, not to mention the fact, they would have to find a way to bring Adam Cole back from the dead.
Also,
He
the
died
fact-
on being the elite.
That's
People don't
true.
realize that.
Yeah, I know.
That's
He actually
true.
died.
So
Oh, yeah, it's
here's,
horrible.
Here's
If you do that one more time, he's actually going to show up. So be careful.
he also,
How many times I got to do it?
I'm not entirely
I
sure.
know if you go, woo, you 16 times,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
get Ric
All right,
Flair.
all right, Jesse, go ahead.
But I love you. But as I was saying, like, here's the biggest issue. So they also mentioned having more of a flexible. They had their people put out a thing talking about having more of a flexible roster. Basically, they want to mold wrestlers to be able to do anything. So if a character doesn't work, they can just change it. Now,
Can I piggyback off that before
Go
you go
for
on?
it.
Please, because that is something that I have actually preached about on the show before you got here. You were here for it.
Yes.
I have said on this show numerous times, and I haven't taken my just desserts about it, even though we have plenty of desserts on this show. I haven't taken my credit for this yet, but I think I was one of the few people to say this. The Survivor Series angle, NXT versus Raw and SmackDown.
Yes.
Rhea Ripley was too much about NXT. Her character, her belief, and you could tell it was real. She believed in her heart that NXT was the best thing going. And then she got to Raw. And she became very bland. She became very different. But she didn't have the... Vince is ultimately in charge. Vince is the man who took this thing global. Vince is the guy who understands what appeals to an entertainment aspect because he never wanted a wrestling company. She was not ready to go to a different show because she was not molded in the idea of flexibility. She was molded in the belief of NXT. Not that it was bad,
yeah.
but I saw it becoming a problem. That when she finally got moved up, because let's be honest, she was a star. She was going to go somewhere else at some point because there was a ceiling in NXT, just like there'll be a ceiling for her on Raw and then SmackDown and then, of course, eventually WWE. They created a belief in a third brand. The problem is it hurt Raw and SmackDown.
Yep.
Raw and SmackDown were hurt by the fact that these people didn't know how to adjust to what those shows were going to be. I'm not talking the comedy writing bullshit that everybody wants to throw them under the bus for. I'm talking about, Jesse, where was AJ Styles thrown day one?
Well, he was always going to be main roster.
But that's my point, is that AJ Styles said some people do need to go to NXT, but that's back when they were still on the edge of developmental.
Yeah.
That's back when, outside of the Finn Balor's, the Shinsuke's, and the Samoa Joes, which I think Samoa Joe will stay there now and be the same thing he was when he was against Shinsuke, is they're there to keep the paying customers happy. But the point of this is to learn where the camera is, to learn this, to learn that, to do this, to do that. They got away from that. And Vince was okay with it because they were going one-on-one with AEW.
Well,
but then
here was the thing, though. And actually that started back in like 2018. Here's the thing, though. Triple H had every right after a point to do that because Triple H saw, after Kevin Owens, most of the call-ups were shite. Most of the call-ups, like he would develop these guys and gals, they would get called up. And that's fine that they were blank slates, but they were blank slates that at first you did nothing with.
Yeah.
So that means he had them for 2 years, got them ready for Vince and those writers, which, by the way, as they fire or as they let go of wrestlers and stuff, they're probably paying nothing to, but it's fine, whatever. Compared to a lot of their main roster guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I need to walk to Connecticut myself, but somebody needs to go to Vince and be like, fire your writers, period. Unless their name is Paul Heyman, gone. Because you keep hiring Hollywood writers, and this is horse shit.
Well, Tommy End even talked about
and I would be like,
how
Vince,
little Paul was actually in charge of
and I
Raw.
want to be like, hey, Vince, you've done a shit job. Now, I'm going to do that because I love you, and I love WWE, and I love pro wrestling. Now, let me get this out the way. And we should clip this from the show so I can put it on other people's shows so they can hear me say this. If you hate the product, don't watch. I'm tired of people reviewing WWE and they going, this damn company, man, I hate them. Well, they don't watch. Well, I have well, they don't watch.
Fusion's on Vice, AEW.
Yeah, didn't we?
Aztec Underground's on its way. You
Didn't
got
we have
New
somebody...
Japan Strong. Hell, if you're going to pay for Hulu, pay for New Japan Strong.
Yeah.
Well, I like Hulu. But we had somebody that
I'm not nothing against Hulu. I'm just saying, if you're willing to pay for a streaming service, go get New Japan Strong.
But we had somebody on our YouTube channel. We have a nice video that we interviewed, and he said the same thing. His name was D'Lo.
D'Lo Brown, your boy, D'Lo. He said it. If you don't like it, change the channel.
If you're not sure and you want to watch
and that video's
watch
got about
it again.
200 plus views now. Oddly
watch that
enough,
video.
already our like second or third most watched video is Allison's Chronicles Live from SmackDown. Interestingly enough.
But here's the thing.
They love her.
Because here's the thing. We get on AEW because I know it can be so much better than what it is.
Oh, yes.
And I want it to get there because, to me, when pro wrestling is and everyone's doing peak stuff, that means I get to love what I love on such a massive scale, and more people will hopefully get back into it. But when you already go into it with a bias that you hate it, then you're ruining it, not only for yourself, but then you get enough people to believe, well, I shouldn't just watch it. If you don't like a certain thing, don't watch it. Like I've told people in the past, you don't like CCW, just don't watch it. That's okay. That fan base will be there. They're gonna make their money. They'll be fine.
As of right now, I was like, I'm not really a fan of AEW. So I don't really watch it.
So you don't watch it, so you let us review it.
Yeah, and I don't watch the whole show. Mainly one, I don't have cable, so I can't watch it.
Yeah.
So I see the highlights, stuff like that. But still, it's just like, but if the boys are on, Top Flight's on, I'll watch them.
Yeah.
Which
is usually on YouTube.
And I have YouTube, everything like
Yeah.
that. So, but JDX is on, I watch that.
Yeah.
I watch what I like. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
And if I don't like it, I turn the channel or I watch something else. That's how I do it.
Because here's what I'm getting
The
to
only
with this.
reason we watch Dynamite, despite how much we shit on it, is because when you enter this world of having a reach, we'll call it, I refuse to be that show that when someone listens to what I say, and yes, some people have said, oh, you came up with the L. Steen rule because you don't watch it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes on something that was just good, and you should go watch it.
Yeah.
We're not going to rip on something that we didn't watch.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That's where I think Dave Meltzer becomes such a problem nowadays is I don't think Dave watches half of SmackDown.
To be honest, I don't even
Probably
think
not.
Dave watches WWE
That's
that
my
much.
point. So for a guy who's actually paid fairly well to do this, I don't think he's paying attention because his reviews, and I read them now on the Observer Online, and I don't pay for the subscription, but I can get in. It's not hard.
No,
But here's the deal. Folks, we're going to look at it. Also, when you are in the media like we basically are, sometimes you got to talk about what's popular. Whether you're a fan or not, you got to talk about what's popular. If this was a music podcast, which Jesse and I could do 18 hours straight on, whether I like a new up-and-coming band and or artist that Jesse says, well, this is new and good, okay, I'll listen because he and I are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit here and say someone's bad if I haven't heard them. People look at me all the time and say, you've never heard Adele. That's why you hate her. I'm like, no, I've heard everything she's ever put out because that's how much respect I have when someone tells me go listen to this.
Yeah.
I have a rule. You listen to the album cover to cover, front to back, but then back to front. I don't know why I do back to front, but that's the way I do it.
Yeah.
I don't like what she does. And when I say I don't like it, I say there is a legitimate hatred in me that I like the word hate is actually how I describe how I feel about Adele.
Oh, well.
I'm not going to lie to you and say I dislike it. No, I actually legitimately want to punch a wall when I listen to it because that's not what I like.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
well,
the thing is that
I liked her James Bond Skyfall song. For
I
the
only
movie.
like it.
That was pretty
I only
good.
like it when I'm watching it in James Bond because the visual adds to the thing.
Well, yes,
But-
yeah, that helps
But
a
here's
lot.
the thing: we're gonna watch Dynamite because
Yes.
we're not gonna shit on it without having watched it.
Well, then, like I said before, I also want it to be better. So here's the thing.
Oh yeah, exactly, 100%.
Oh,
So
do I.
So my final thing about these WWE cuts is
Yes.
Number one. So 3 final points. Number one.
Oh, by the way,
AEW,
by the way,
yeah.
big clarification before we finish up with your thing, because you'll finish the topic for us. When you're cut in a 90-day clause, you're still paid. It's
Yeah,
not,
they still pay you for 90
It's not like
days.
these people are scrounging
Yeah.
for scraps
Yeah.
for 90 days.
The employees are different, which
Yes.
which
unfortunately,
sucks.
unfortunately.
But
yes.
the wrestlers are usually taken care of
Different
for 3
kind
months.
of contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, different kind of
Well, they're
contract.
just employees,
Yeah, exactly.
so they can just be let go. But
But they also get health benefits. I just want to point that out.
That's
so
true.
it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, AEW, are you actually giving it? I digress.
Let's tweet Tony Khan and find out.
I'm just saying.
He's
you
spending
guys,
daddy's money.
you guys said you would, and from what I know,
Not
they
a
still.
single. And by the way, folks, just if someone gets hurt and Tony pays for the surgery, not the same goddamn thing.
No, it's not.
No.
So,
I don't give you credit for doing that. I don't.
so here's the thing. So number one, this is why you should never hoard talent, because at some point you have to let it go. Number two, if you don't think AEW is going to at least let go half of that 200 person roster that they got going,
70,
you are sadly
90.
mistaken.
They're only about 100.
They're
Yeah.
slowing down. They're getting smaller.
You're sadly mistaken. And then number three, and I think most importantly for WWE, I need Vince to just finally admit, because he has been, this company has been this now for 2 years. So 10 years ago, and this is why John Cena got pushed down our throats. Most of their, I think it was like 56% of their income came from merchandise and
Yes.
shows.
Yes.
That number is down to 30.
Yep.
Yeah.
So even for a guy like Bray Wyatt, who's a massive, like a multi-million-dollar merchandise mover, it was easy for Nick Khan in his decision to let him go, because most of their money now comes from business-to-business relations,
Yeah.
sponsorships,
Yeah.
things of that nature. Why they probably make a shit ton of money every time they're promoting a Dwayne or a John Cena movie.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just admit that. Oh, and the fourth thing, when you are starting to free up so much money in your budget, and you're getting close to over $500 million, what did I say 2 months ago about this company when they hired Nick Khan?
Yep.
Admit it. You're trying to sell the company, and that's fine. That's fine, Vince. I have no problem with that. Okay, because your daughter's clearly going to be the CEO. It does not matter. She's
someone-
doing a great job.
Can someone explain to me? And I'm not playing dumb here. I legitimately don't understand. If he's trying to sell, I don't care. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. No one has actually been able to explain how cutting a bunch of people and take out the 6 that actually mattered. Take out 6.
No.
Hold on.
Go finish your thing.
Now we're down to about 45 people. How does cutting mass employees
I'll tell you.
prove that they're selling?
I'll tell you why. So what it shows decluttering, and that whoever you sell to has a clean slate with your company.
I mean, but that's a basic idea.
But
What's the deep?
So you guys work for Quick Trip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, it's a good family-owned company.
Yeah.
I was blessed to meet one of the family members when I got hired. That rarely happens because they're rarely up here.
We've met all the family members at the meetings. when they come.
Yeah, because of the meetings. Yeah,
Yeah.
we met a lot.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do come to all the meetings.
Because I know they were at the store out west when I was getting hired, and that was really cool to meet them while I was watching the training video. I'm like, oh, you're right there.
Hey,
I've seen that guy.
And talking to them, I understand why they like to take care of you guys. They like to treat everyone like family there. And I've always said that's not a bad business model, because when you get people to stay, then the business itself feels more comfortable to the customer because people like being there. Now, of course, with everything with COVID, they're trying to do a rematch, flux in hiring, because people really.
they were great to us during COVID. I actually don't.
Yeah,
think-
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't fault them for anything.
But some
they did
people
during
did
COVID.
leave, understandably.
Yeah.
'cause
Oh, yeah.
and they had kids, stuff like that, or they had diseases of their own and they're just worried, and that's no big
It
deal.
happens. Yeah. There were a couple of days where you didn't come in just because you were worried about the kids, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, for 6 days for the kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, once again, great company. Like I said, the only reason it didn't work for me was just my schedule at the time, so I couldn't finish my training, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Great company, though. But WWE, if you are a entertainment business-to-business based company, for you to be attractive to whether it be Disney, Sony, whoever, because those are the companies that can really buy you, because Disney bought Fox's entertainment properties.
Yeah.
So Fox doesn't even own their entertainment stuff anymore.
No.
If you want to become more buyable to those kind of investors, it's called declutter, which basically goes, listen, we did have a ton of people. Now you don't have to worry about firing them or whatever you're going to do. We've already, we've cleared up enough in the budget.
What's the oldest thing in sports? Even if you have a hot shot rookie at quarterback, new GM comes in. Okay, can't get rid of the player, but that wasn't your coach.
Yeah, basically that wasn't the guy you drafted. It just happened to Sam Darnold on the Jets. It happens. So,
most Jets fans wish him luck in Carolina.
We think he's going to do great in Carolina because he actually has talent around him now. But
That helps.
Here's the thing:
Knock on wood, it stays healthy.
when you're trying to be buyable. By the way, the Clippers kind of did it when Steve Ballmer bought them.
Yeah.
Was the GM got rid of a ton of talent that they knew he might not keep.
Yeah.
So when he buys a team, even though that's a different situation because the former owner was just a dick and a racist.
Not going to stay around long when your racist comments are that public.
Yep.
Steve Ballmer now had the choice of, I can build my own stadium, I
Yep.
can do this, I can do that. So now
And it's still barely cut into his net worth. I want
Yeah.
to point that out.
Yeah.
The man was basically right next to Bill Gates
Yeah.
this whole damn time.
So for somebody like a Disney who's been interested in buying WWE, if they buy them, now they can go, well, we have a ton of budget that they already have now to deal with.
Yeah.
We can choose how they want to run the show. Which, by the way, people, I know people are like, they're going to be a Disney company, blah, blah, blah. That's more so because they are an entertainment company
Can
now.
I also point something out about that bullshit? Because this needs to be said. When they bought Star Wars,
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I don't care your feelings about the story, about their trilogy. The overall essence of Star Wars didn't change, because you don't buy something at that price to just change it overnight.
No.
You're buying the equity that the fan base is. You're buying a fan base.
But what happened, and here where WWE, actually, I'm glad you brought it up, Because as you know, I'm a massive Star Wars fan.
You are.
And
Oh, yes.
here's what WWE is doing now that Disney accidentally just did with Star Wars.
Yep.
You fucked up stories. So now, because of course you want the story to stay the same.
Yeah.
You want people to still love what they loved. Because that's what made it a ton of money. But guess what you did? You botched stories.
Well, but
And
Disney-
because you botched stories, now people aren't interested in the next trilogy.
Disney's problem was this. They overthunk themselves.
Yes.
Yes.
They were too smart for themselves.
Yes, but by
I'm-
the way, it's the same thing WWE just did
I'm-
in 2018
yes,
with
I'm
all
not-
those damn signings.
I'm not so sure that if the same director wasn't allowed to tell his own trilogy, that it would get this much backlash. I'm not saying people loved the first movie of this trilogy. I'm not saying that.
If it was just JJ, we would have gotten a coherent story.
If J.J. Abrams was not replaced with Ryan Johnson, who, by the way, didn't do a terrible movie, it was just not told in the idea of J.J.
Right.
Ryan didn't do an awful job. It just wasn't in the coherent world that J.J. Abrams was telling.
Basically-
And Disney fixed their mistake, but it was too late.
Yes, because basically the idea was because their idea was, which by the way, this actually relates to WWE in such a huge way.
Yes.
It almost fits perfectly
Yeah.
that Disney buys fucking WWE at this point as an entertainment company. But their thought was, we do a storyline through. We're going to try to do what Kevin Feige has done with Marvel because they put Catherine in charge, and she's a great producer.
Yes.
We're gonna have different directors tell each story. Well, the problem is each director probably has their own style in the way that they're going to try to tell
You
a
have to
story.
understand something, folks.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the thing that I've especially learned the inner workings because Allison was an entertainment degree. The director is not the writer most of the time, but just because the writer puts it in, unless the production company writes in the contract creative control, the director doesn't have to tell the story as it was written.
No, they
The
change it.
director is in charge of everything from the star to catering.
Yes.
So that's why, and everyone's like, well, the producer's above. That doesn't matter. The producer makes sure that the Actors Guild gets their union in.
Well, the producers are big for finances.
Right,
Yeah.
but here's the deal. The actual on-screen product, unless you're Disney and you have creative control because you're writing the budget, the director is in charge.
True. Though producers can always put in their
Well,
input.
yeah. Well,
So, but
well, yeah.
but overall, like I said, to kind of finalize the WWE cuts thing,
Yeah.
the fourth and final thing is this: you better be right, because all those talented people are going to probably go do great things, and you had them under your umbrella.
But I'll say this much. That's great for the business as a whole.
Yes.
We
yes,
we love WWE, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to get mad if all of a sudden we're back to your days, Leroy, where there's small wrestling companies getting an hour of TV every night.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be mad about that.
Yeah.
But now,
be great.
now
Yes.
we're going to get to a world where, Jesse, it's time to
And it would be what?
Awesome!
Well, I don't know about this
Yeah.
one. I'm more.
No, Jesse,
different to talk about
Jesse, it's
This is what I'm
time
gonna do.
to break the glass.
Oh my God!
And it's time to drop some truth on our friends in Spot Monkey. Ladies and
What?
gentlemen,
But
What?
before we kill them,
What?
let's actually start with some credit. Malachi Black squashed. I know, right?
squash.
He actually squashed
Hold
Cody
on.
Rhodes.
Now, hold
He
on.
did-
Hold
oh
on.
my God,
hold
it
on,
was a-
Hold on. I knew you were
Yeah.
gonna,
I
can't
hold on,
believe it.
Hold on. I knew you were going to compliment it as am I. But
Because I got to
hold
eat
on.
crow.
The time out now. No. Here's the. No, you don't. And I'm going to save you for a second.
Okay.
Here's why. If they make something out of this and Cody comes out at the end of it, it's going to be the same result.
Oh God.
If
yeah.
Cody comes out as the winner of like a trilogy, it's gonna be the same result, and you know it. So hold on. Compliment them for the one night, but don't eat the crow yet.
true.
We ain't done with this yet. You
I
know
know.
we ain't done.
And this is all I'll do. Just
Yeah.
Now,
this is
Now,
what I'm gonna
yeah.
do.
here's the deal.
Oh my God!
I was shocked. I didn't see it
There
coming.
is so much to unravel of the last week or to 2 weeks of Spot Monkey. Number one, Michael Jordan got a nice little cut of this.
They had to pay for Space Jam.
It wasn't even Space Jam. It was like the Jock Jams
Yeah.
version of shit. They paid $50,000 for a bad. By the way, how can you not dribble a basketball if you're a grown adult? That was the most pathetic thing. I couldn't take my eyes off of that. And then they missed the dunk on the Meltzer driver.
Which, remember, I yelled about last week because I'm like, if you botch it, just move on. It was a stupid idea in the first place.
But hold
then
on.
this idiot
But hold
did
on.
it again.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Tony.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the. Okay, by the way, never
ripped.
again.
Oh, my God.
Never again are you ever going to be able to convince me that Tony Khan is not playing professional wrestling promoter, because he did this as a birthday present to his buddy. Because there were reports that it was a co-branded deal with Space Jam 2. But if it's a co-branded deal sponsorship, why is Tony Khan saying he paid $50,000 for it? You don't pay for a sponsorship, they pay you.
Yes.
So let me explain something. This was a $50,000 birthday present to one of the Bucks? Are you kidding me right now?
Dude,
Don't overuse that, okay?
they're making more money than they. Well, actually, they probably would have made more in WWE to be jobbers, but they're rightfully so.
Yes,
but you're paying them a hefty fucking
$50,000 for a song that, let's be honest, you could go get Jock Jams for 99 cents on fucking iTunes, and you would have gotten the same cut.
Tony's like, should I do it?
$50,000?
Should I do it? And the Bucks go, do it now.
Dude, they probably could have paid WB Music less just to use it.
Exactly. Or you could have been smart and gone out and got a mini sponsorship deal and actually gotten paid for it. Tony Khan is literally in the blow daddy's money phase of his life. That's all he is. He's a rich kid who's been handed the keys to the vault. Not even the castle, but the vault. This guy, okay, first of all, number one, Tony Khan.
By the way, good job, Cody, admitting that you guys have problems.
Right. Number one, here's the deal. Tony Khan, I'm going to get this out of the way, okay? Thank you for the kind words about Bobby Eaton. Even Jim Cornette, like we said at the top of the show, gave you a wonderful thing. Thank you for that. Now back to the rest of your shit. Bro!
Oh.
Oh, that's a
boy.
good sound right there. Oh, wow.
This guy is paying $50,000 for a stadium. Do even the stadiums pay that much for this?
No, I doubt it.
Are you kidding me right now?
Doubt it.
His daddy has a stadium across the street.
I bet you his daddy has the rights to use it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a sec. Just on music and 2 pairs of shoes, the Bucks have made him pay for $70,000.
Well, yeah.
And that's not even counting their 6-figure contract.
He's paying for their friendship, basically.
Yes! Tony Khan is the weirdo who played wrestling promoter in his basement, couldn't get real friends, and now he's bought them.
Yeah.
And guess what? Not only did they find a guardian angel money mark, they found, not saying he's a bad person, I've already explained that, but his idea of money. If your daddy pays $40 million for a wide receiver, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Wide receivers know what they're worth at $40 million.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You are paying guys who I guarantee. Okay, the legendary.
By the way, that's under a cap, so
yeah,
kills his dad nothing.
The legendary Chris Jericho story of walks into Eric Bischoff's office for a new contract and says, "I want $150,000 guaranteed," and Eric just says, "Yeah, sure," and they walked out. He says, "I could have gotten $250 if I just started with that." These guys are probably sitting at home thinking to themselves, "All we had to do was buy a home in Jacksonville that he's probably paying for."
Mm-hmm.
And he's paying us more money than we were ever getting paid, even when bar wrestling was at its peak, even when Pro Wrestling Guerrilla was at its peak.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
We're getting paid more money to work one night a week and still do our stupid YouTube show, which Brandon Cutler, that's the only reason why Brandon Cutler's there anymore, is to film the damn YouTube show.
He came out of retirement to do what he's doing now, as a man, you know what? I usually don't insult these people as human beings, but Brandon Cutler, as a man, where the fuck is your pride? He came out of retirement.
And I work at a gas station, and I still have more pride in what I do than what Brandon Cutler does in
Do
what
we
he
need
does.
to take his man card away from him?
I get you.
It's not that bad, but it's close.
I guess you were, you were feeding your family. He was running a couple shops out there in California. He was doing okay.
Yeah.
But you came out of retirement to be a lack boy for your friends?
No. Michael Nakanakazawa is a lap boy.
Okay.
Brandon Cutler's a cameraman. He's getting paid probably six figures because he's a member of the Bucks to get paid 4 times, if not 10 times as much as the guy running the camera for the show. I'm not kidding.
I wonder if this will work for what people that the Bucks think that everybody should do to them. Their butts.
What I don't understand.
That was kind of
First
weird.
off, Michael Nakazawa, he's gonna have a breaking point because at some point you're gonna be like, dude, like I came here.
But he's also getting paid more than he was ever getting paid in Japan. And when you look at the exchange rate, he goes back to Japan. He's richer than the emperor.
That's true.
For God's sakes.
Well, I mean, he's technically he's half Japanese, half Turkish, but
okay, fair.
Here's the thing. He's also a really good wrestler. At some point, even with the stupid comedy,
I agree. No. I agree.
People, if I got to remember his All Japan Pro Wrestling name. Go find his matches.
Well, but All
from,
Japan was never going to allow the baby oil thing.
Well,
they
no.
were never going to allow.
But I would
doing.
tell you to go watch those matches so you can see how good of a wrestler he actually is. Because he's doing nothing now. But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Jim Cornette.
We don't want to become a comedy act, so be careful.
What I have realized.
This isn't AEW.
Wait a minute.
Jim Cornette can be an absolute dickhead sometimes. Like I say, about them, and sometimes.
Yeah.
Hell, sometimes about WWE and New Japan.
Yeah.
One thing.
To be fair, the only thing he said about New Japan recently is that it's not unfair to say that when AEW brings in certain guys, nobody in American television knows who they are. That's fair.
That's just fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But to be fair to Jim Cornette, I can't believe I'm saying this. He's been right about these All Elite guys since the beginning.
They found a guardian angel.
Well, no.
Just like Dixie Carter.
No. He was right. So, you introduced me to him a couple years ago.
Yes, I did.
So I went back to his back catalog, and like I said, I got pissed at some things he once said about Kenny in New Japan. You know what, Jim? I'm sorry. You were absolutely what he's overarching without I wouldn't be able to say exactly what he said.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was saying like Kenny is talented, but the guys in New Japan make him look legendary because they're so fucking good.
To piggyback off of what we talked about last week, I was watching History of Bullet Club. I think it was part 4 or 5.
Okay, yeah.
It's when Jay White first got there.
Yeah.
Kenny was still the U.S. champion.
Yes.
Kenny's promo to Jay White, you're 100% right. There was no phone sex voice. It was legitimate. There was some bass in his voice. It sounded like I actually liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know where that went. Here's the thing. Jay White goes to a company that doesn't have near the production of New Japan, doesn't have near anything that New Japan has on an actual quantity scale.
Yeah.
Not quality, but quantity.
Yeah.
And Jay White is still the king speaking.
Still looks like an absolute superstar.
You know what
He
happened?
looked like the last rock and roller.
Yeah.
Zach, you know what happened? Usually when you go, your balls drop. When your voice changes. Kenny's, I think, his retracted back into his
But
body.
I'm not even trying to make a fun
happening.
schoolyard joke. This is actually confusing.
I really want to say something about Joshi wrestlers and that, but I'm going to leave that alone today.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
okay.
continue.
But this is my point. I am legitimately confused. Even with the Bucks standing next to you, where did that Kenny Omega go? Because Kenny Omega on Impact...
He started off in AEW as the goddamn vagabond. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Where is the guy that actually had us convinced you were the best in the world? Where is that guy?
I think Al Snow, he put an article saying about it too, is a lot of the wrestlers nowadays don't care about the fan. What they just want to get their butts.
No. That's the sad part. That is the saddest part about this whole thing. Kenny,
and if that's why
Kenny
he's
and the
doing
Bucks,
it,
despite insulting the members of the Cult of Cornette, saying that they're incredibly low-brow, low-IQ people. Have you seen your audience?
Right.
I'm not even kidding.
Right.
Have you seen your audience?
Right.
They will cheer, and Jim has said this numerous times, and actually Jim might be right, because if the right wrestler does this, it might actually... You know what? I wouldn't even put it past them to find a way to do it. They could shit in the middle of the ring. You're going to cheer.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. I've watched you cheer for things that Canada wouldn't cheer for in WWE. And that's known as Bizarro World.
Well, here's the thing. I've watched.
We love Canadians.
I've watched the hardcore elite fans cheer for shit that they get mad at WWE about.
It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It's the exact same double standard bullshit that WWE got in trouble for when you were PWG in it. You guys hated them for what they did. But here's a question. If you called up all those old buddies and showed them Dynamite.
Oh, I can tell you, there's a couple guys that still talk to you. They hate AEW, so they didn't even watch it. Like
Jim Cornette said this best when I was on my here listening to the past week's drive-through. The actual drive-through may not happen because of the Bobby Eaton thing. We don't know.
Of course.
He said it. The saddest part is there have been 3 great wrestling wars. Vince in the 80s versus the NWA. Vince in the 90s versus WCW. And now Vince versus AEW. For the first time in all 3 wars, WWE is the more believable product. What does that mean? NWA was as real as it got.
It was.
WCW was realer in the 90s.
Vince Russo had a lot to do with what happened at the end.
It got phony in the end.
Yeah.
But how do you go from being the cartoonish 80s to now doing something very quietly similar, just in a 2020
version
coat,
of it,
and you're the more believable product?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to every AEW fan out there. You will laugh and cheer at anything that happens on Dynamite. Because I've watched you do it over 2 years. I've watched you do it. I've watched you look at WWE, and I've seen your tweets, because I still can go on Twitter, even though I don't have a Twitter. I've seen your tweets. I've seen your videos.
Well, you can go on now,
At 13cards_13.
Yes.
There we go.
I have seen you browbeat segments on Raw. Well deserved, mind you.
Yes.
But then the same shit happens on Dark Elevation or Dynamite, and it's the same thing. I don't care the names of the people involved. They didn't sell it any better than Raw did. and you just
the greatest
left,
thing ever.
And you left. No, you left your seats. You were jumping up and down for it. What in the hell is wrong that you can't see in front of your own face that guess what?
I can tell you.
I don't know.
So when we were mad at WWE back in 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was because we it wasn't just Vince. We just felt like WWE turned on the wrestling fan. That's how we felt. Now, remember, we were kids who were now in our early 20s. Some of the guys a little later on.
Yeah.
But a lot of us were in our, and ladies, in our early 20s, and we're just like, man, we love this. And now, like, if it's not wrapped around John Cena, the show's not what it used to be. It's like they don't give a shit about our love for this. But these guys, because it's not Vince related, they'll cheer.
Yep.
But when it's
what's sad? You know what's sad? And I think it was BJ in the lounge. If I'm getting the person wrong, I apologize, but your comment was stupid. More.
I did not think that's what he was going to say.
No.
More live crowds should take over the show. No. Let me explain something. The Izod Center was a special night because it was the night after WrestleMania.
Yes.
Also, I watched SmackDown live from Minneapolis. We cheered for who? Now, okay, were we maybe a little bit under the umbrella because we were happy that it finally came back?
Yeah.
Whatever. But we cheered for who we were supposed to. We booed who we were supposed to.
Yeah.
But watching the show back, it felt like fun because no one tried to make it about themselves.
No.
We enjoyed the product.
Yes.
We enjoyed what was in front of us. I'm sorry, I watched SmackDown the next week. I watched Raw 4 days later.
Yeah.
The crowd did their typical thing. And by the way, I don't care what anyone has to say. Ronda Rousey's got a point. I don't care who says it. Ronda Rousey had a point when she said, all of you people who are like, oh, God, poor Bray, you were the ones who were like, what the hell happened with the Firefly Funhouse? You were the ones who said the Wyatt family got stupid. You're the one that said the Eater of Worlds with all the kids was stupid. You can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and say, we want to be the show, and then get mad when they don't put the person you want out there. I'm not telling fans that you have to 100% be happy with 100% of everything they give you. But just sit there and enjoy the show And by the way, this isn't me telling LeBron to shut up and dribble. This is legitimately something that I can say, and it's a fair point. What's wrong with just enjoying the scripted entertainment that we all know that it is?
Right.
What's wrong with that?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with
You
it.
people want to be back to Jesse saying they think they're owed something. They want to be the show. Chanting "We want beach balls" during a Wyatt family match is going to make the WWE office say he's not the guy.
Yeah.
He's not the guy. Because, by the way, no reaction is the worst thing you can get in wrestling. The next worst thing you can get in wrestling is the fans are doing something, but it has nothing to do with your shit.
Yes.
So let me explain something. Roman Reigns got to that point. Now he's the tribal chief. And guess
everybody
what?
hates him.
And guess what? You got pissed that he was shoved down your face, but you gave him a reaction.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. That's why he didn't become the guy. He became the guy.
Yeah.
That was the gimmick.
Yeah.
The in-betweener. Because it worked with your booze. If you wanted Roman Reigns off your TV, go on your phone for 20 minutes while he's out there. It's not that hard to figure out. But more fans taking over the show, I don't need that. Because it ruins my enjoyment of the product.
Right.
And that's the problem that people don't get. This is not the same as ECW.
No.
Paul worked the fans into the show. It
Yeah.
made sense.
Yeah.
Also, ECW fans were respectable enough to let what happened in the ring happen.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
PWG, you guys are right there. But
I'm about to say we gave we were reacting to what the wrestlers did because we were there for the show.
I think that's a common misconception that people always think, well, PWG is letting the fans be a part of the show. That's not what they're doing.
No.
You're allowed to be close,
Yeah.
but you're still having to let the show be the show.
Yes.
You're still having to let that be a thing.
Yeah.
But this is the problem that I have. You take over the show.
Like Kevin Owens taking your drink and drinking it. If it happened
There
to
we
you,
go.
you were just happy. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, this is awesome.
But this is the thing. By you taking over the show, there's going to be more cuts to bigger names because they're not doing it. And then you're going to get a bunch of people you don't care about because that's all that's left. Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, nobody was on their phone because, yes, there weren't phones, but nobody was playing with a beach ball.
No.
Nobody was going to the popcorn vendor when Rock and
No.
Stone Cold were in the ring.
Absolutely not.
You people, you drive the show. But when you decide to act like a jackass, when you decide to act like a moron, when you decide that your wants and likes and dislikes are more important than even if you want to call them comedy writers, when you think that they're more important, that's when the product becomes a problem.
Yep.
You are the reason why they do what they do. Disney puts out movies in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Bunch of racial undertones. But nobody gave a shit.
Back in those times, no.
But now you play things, and for
you
some
have to have
reason the
disclaimers.
Crows come off as very Southern black. I still don't see it, but I guess there's an argument to be made there.
I
And
see
that's
him
why
as-
Dumbo is not allowed on the childhood version of Disney Plus anymore.
They did edit the shit out that movie on
They
Disney
did,
Plus.
yes. I see him
Oh, this is why I tell Allison we got to buy these. She goes, but on Disney Plus. Yeah, but the good one, the good version ain't.
as. I know. I just look at them as crows. They're birds.
But this is my point, Jesse. You know when a company is gearing towards a black man. You can tell.
Yeah.
But you don't want the whole show to pander to you for 3 hours.
No.
You want something that there's conflict.
Well,
you want
especially
something.
now that Raw is 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yes.
But that's my thing. Is that folks?
That used to be exciting when Raw was 3 hours.
Yeah,
Now
right?
You're like, can you cut like 45 minutes, please?
Here's my thing.
You guys are killing me with this 3
Yeah.
hour shit.
Here's my thing.
Hulu.
The
Yeah, that's what I did.
WWE.
Charlotte's going to start the goddamn show this week.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Anyway,
I'm like, she is such in a Triple H
mindset. Yeah.
phase. Like, it's. By the way, now this relates to AEW and its fans because.
Hold on. Why is the main attraction of AEW starting the show? Why?
Because they have big egos.
No, because again, the Bucks.
Actually, to give them credit, they do try to do different main events, and I'll give them credit for that.
But the problem is.
But there's never an underlying thing in their show either. That's why I call it frantic.
But this is the problem,
yeah.
Jesse. It's also because, and again, it goes back to the fans. You will drink the Kool-Aid no matter what it is. By the time the Bucks have their 40 minutes, and that's normally what they average.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What is left for the other matches?
The Young Bucks are fucking clowns of pro wrestlers. You know what? I'm just going to get this out here, okay? So they start the show, okay? The Elite are the worst thing in pro wrestling. They are not funny.
No.
They're not funny.
No.
And they can be funny, but they're not funny.
No, but they're funny to fifth graders because that's their version of entertainment is fifth grade playground.
I'll have to have Eben watch that and see if he thinks it's funny.
Guys,
I don't think
He's
Evan
pretty
would.
close.
I
yeah,
think
he probably
Eben. I
does.
think Eben might fall asleep. Like
might,
you'd be
yeah.
like, "Oh man, he's asleep at 7:30. This is awesome." Listen,
or he'd be playing with his Legos. Are you watching that? No.
these guys are clowns, and not in a good way. But you're supposed to be the big thing on the show, and it's my. Here's the worst thing you can be in pro wrestling.
Cookie Monster.
Here's the worst thing you can be in pro wrestling.
A Cookie
Zach.
Monster shirt.
It's the one thing that ruins.
Cookie Monster shirt?
It's the
He
thing
wore a
that,
cookie. Now, okay. Everyone's like, look for the Easter eggs of what the Elite were wearing. I don't want Easter eggs of people I can't see for 6 months.
Stone Cold Steve Austin hurt Lance Storm when he called him this, but this is what the Elite are and why. Now they're starting to be less fans at their shows.
Yeah.
They're freaking boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. It's not entertaining.
No.
By the way, Raw is boring. But at least I know Raw is boring when I watch Raw, and I might get some great riddle matches and some things like that.
Well, yes.
So, like, that's why Vince is now, like, looking at guys like Matt Riddle because he was like, man, I love guys like that. They're entertaining, and they put on great matches. But here's the
Matt,
thing.
again, I'll say it because I think it's been a couple of months since I said it. Still, forget his backstage stuff. Forget his promos. Not a bad match since he's been called up.
Dude,
Matt
excellent
Riddle,
matches.
not a bad match.
Bro.
And he's actually funny as hell when
He
he's
is.
on.
But see, here's the deal. He's realistically funny.
Yes.
Because that.
You can believe
Yeah.
that this is who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might
it's
piss
him.
some of the older guys off. And by the way, please don't piss off Brock Lesnar. I don't want to watch what happens when Brock
I
Lesnar
actually
gets in
think
on you.
Brock doesn't hate him. He just felt, apparently the story is Brock felt like he was rubbed the wrong way. But
Yeah.
they talked. He really likes the kid. It's Goldberg who's still mad at him. Fuck Goldberg. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I have my feelings on Bill Goldberg.
Yes, you do.
But yeah, so
Bro.
you start the show with the Elite. You're starting the show.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you get the crowd? By the way, your crowd's going to get hyped for you anyway. But shouldn't you start like the home audience like, all right, man, let's get into Dynamite. Let's do this. Like, so when Chris Jericho starts with a sloppy match this week with Juventud, there was still some excitement because it's Juventud Guerrero who's not been on American television.
This was an
in almost 20 years.
embarrassment.
By the way, that match is horrible.
No. Take the match out. Let's just look at the visual. You built, and again, I love me some deathmatch, and I got nothing against Nick. He has found a way to carve out a life for himself despite all his past indiscretions. You built to the main event of that. But for God's sakes, Juventud Guerrera is what you open the show with? You don't spend the night showing the accolades of the juice?
The juice.
You don't have Tony Schiavone tell the stories of
By the way, in their sloppy match, this is a problem.
The smart way to do it.
When you don't allow two 40-year-old guys who have not wrestled in 20 years, haven't wrestled each other in like 20 years. This is what happens when you don't allow them to try to like warm each other up. Now, I know some people were like, well, listen, Chris Jericho's almost 50, so is Hoovy. They should be able to just kind of go out there and call a match. You guys haven't wrestled together. Go work it a little bit. That way you guys understand what you're doing. This is my only issues with new wrestlers is that sometimes I'll just go call a match.
MJF, by the way, also oversold this in a bad way.
Yes.
Yeah.
His greatest rival, Juventud was 2-8 versus Jericho, just in WCW.
Yeah.
The overall record of them all time, Jericho 17-6-1.
Yeah.
That's not a rivalry.
That's not a rivalry.
Not really, no.
He's owned him.
Chris Jericho and Hoovy put on great matches. Not going to deny that. But did nobody tell MJF? And by the way, this is not MJF's fault because they probably gave him a script.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, W scripted. Don't tell me Tony's not handing them something to say. Don't even try to tell me that." But the fact of the matter is that MJF, nobody, and this is why you need to listen to a JR.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to an Arn Anderson. What you say matters,
They
boys.
got mad at JR for saying.
Randy Orton was the best because Randy Orton is better than everybody
And
in
then
that
they
company.
also got mad at him for talking about their fucking
Oh,
hey,
Brandon
guys-
Cutler should have kept his damn mouth shut about that crap. But anyway, no. Hoovy, the Juice, Juventud
yes.
Guerrera. He was better featured as a Mexicool than he was here.
Yeah.
And that was without the mask.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. His
he wear a
greatest
mask?
rival.
Yeah, he wore a mask.
Yeah.
Because he's been wearing a mask again in AAA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
But here's the deal. Hoovy. Who the hell is Hoovy? First of all, a year later on a joke. Really? A year later? You hold a grudge for a year? That just means you're a pestilent child. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. But anyway,
Yes.
his greatest rival, they had great matches on WCW Saturday night, but Chris won everything.
Yeah.
Just because the last match was for the Cruiserweight Championship of the World and Hoovy won doesn't change the fact that he was 2-8 against Jericho.
Well, who was Jericho's? God, who was his best rival in WCW?
Probably Dean Malenko.
Yeah, probably
You think
Dean.
it was Dean
But-
Malenko?
Yeah.
But Dean can't wrestle at that level
He
anymore.
can't wrestle
No, he
anymore.
can't.
But okay, this is my point. This match, even at their age, you saw flashes of what was good, but the problem is because it was on early, they didn't have time to probably go through what they wanted to, even though they had a week.
Yeah.
Here's my biggest problem. You couldn't have sold me for even an hour, start the 9 o'clock hour with this. You couldn't have sold, or I guess the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
us,
the 8
yeah.
o'clock.
Yeah, for
Yes.
us, yeah. You couldn't have started the next hour of TV and spend the first hour showing highlights of Hoovy.
I would have rather
He
you
just
showed,
walked out there?
Right, like showed highlights of Hoovy. I would have rather you started a match with Christian Cage. You know why you have him
Yeah.
there? Everyone loves him. It's hard not to like Christian.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
go.
true.
He's gonna go put on a good match, even in his 50s, because Christian's been one of the best. He's been one of the most underrated wrestlers his whole career. Unfortunately,
Christian found a way to work, but not work stiff.
yes,
Christian for because Christian's mostly leg,
Yeah.
from a physical standpoint, but he's so smooth.
yes.
Christian's
yeah.
got great,
like someone said,
great
if you,
feet.
If you watch his feet, he's got the best feet ever in pro wrestling.
damn close. Yeah.
So it's you could have started with Christian Cage and what's going on with Matt Hardy. You know what I would like? You know what, that was fun because they have a fun little rivalries based off of their history in WWE. But of course, AEW's trying to also play the game that WWE does by not mentioning them.
Yeah.
which is dumb.
Yeah.
By the way, both companies should stop doing that.
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
Alex did point out in the interview that he doesn't like that companies do that. So once again, boys, and Cody said it after the Malachi Black match, which ruined the results of the Malachi Black match. We're not the alternative. We're the competition. Child.
No.
Child, sit over here. It's just, no. Guys, you won't mention them. They won't mention you, but yet you'll mention New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Even WWE mentioned Japan because they had no choice with AJ. Because they weren't going to mention TNA.
Yeah.
Which now they will do.
Yes.
They'll mention Impact every now and then.
Yeah.
They'll mention Ring of Honor because they had that working relationship in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it's both companies should stop doing it. But
Yeah.
you started with something that you should have did at the 9 o'clock hour.
Yep.
So because your audience clearly don't know who Hoovy is. By the way, for fans who are supposed to be the smartest fans in pro wrestling, how do you not know the juice? You imbeciles! Just go to YouTube and look up his matches.
Arguably the best luchador of the next generation of luchadors.
Listen,
Yes.
as far as the luchadors of all time, he's a top 10.
Oh, no.
I agree with that, yeah.
No, but that's encompassing the days of Gory
Well, yeah.
and Blue Demon.
Well, yeah.
Not Blue Demon Jr., but Blue
Yeah,
Demon.
yeah.
But then also encompassing the era of El Fantasma.
Well, Rey Mysterio.
Well, Ray's the king no matter what.
Yes.
End of story,
Yeah.
Ray's the king.
No way around
But
that.
but there's the era of Gory. There's the era of El Fantasma.
Yeah.
And then there's the era of I guess you could say Ray because Ray's
Yeah.
the top guy. But Hoovy is arguably the greatest of the generation of luchadors that were not really the best at an American style. Because remember, Lucha Libre was originally an American style
Yeah.
when Gory
Yes.
was there.
Yeah.
That's why Eddie was so good at American style because Gory, he learned it from Gory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is Gory's true heir. Nothing else to the
That is
family.
true. That is true.
They all know that.
Yeah.
But Juventud Guerrera, was a mainstay on WCW because you couldn't get him off your TV.
It was awesome to watch.
And by the way,
yeah.
to
It was
quote,
a highlight.
by the way,
happened.
to quote Jim Cornette.
Probably the original Ricochet, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
To quote Jim Cornette, don't do shit that A, you don't know how to do, and B, don't do shit that you can't make look good. Hoovy made everything look good.
Yes, he did.
Hoovy
Oh my
made
God.
everything look crisp. It
Yeah.
looked great.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard to beat Halloween Havoc Ray versus Eddie, but damn did Hoovy have some bangers.
Oh God, yes.
But the fact
he
is
definitely
that
did. Oh my God.
is that when Vince, even when Vince agrees to bring in someone from somewhere else, he at least gives you 30 minutes to an hour of trying to educate you on
Yeah.
who the motherfucker is. Because, but hold on. But this is the wrestling bubble that Kenny and the Bucks live in. They are under the impression that all their fans do is research them for 6 days. I don't. That's not
Oh
even
my
me
God.
trying to be
That's true.
funny.
Oh
it's
my
it's
God.
the
Yeah.
saddest thing because here's the problem. Joey Janela walks in day one,
And they're about to have a new show start next Friday after Smack.
which by the way is going to feature Dynamite quality matches. What? So does that mean that we're going to take an hour off Dynamite, put it on Rampage, so now an extra hour of Dynamite is going to be the 70 other people you don't feature?
Well, here's the thing. Now they're going to start.
in an hour.
So what they're going to start doing is
I don't
I don't
know.
they're actually going to have Friday night shows now because they.
Oh my God.
Because here's the thing. Remember on YouTube they have 3 hours of television to fill there
Yeah.
that we don't know about still.
that they never promote.
No.
Yeah.
But
And by the
now-
way, quick side note.
Oh.
Every time you make that joke on any pro AEW timeline, even their own fans can't deny, oh, wait, they never talk about Dark or
No.
Dark Elevation
No.
on
There you
Dynamite.
go, yeah.
Oh, wait, he's actually right. I want to trash this guy for hating the Bucks wrestling, but he's right. You can't
deny us on
you
that.
can't deny me on
No,
that.
you
Here's
can't.
the worst thing. You know? Do you know they actually have a rivalry going on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation with women?
No.
It's really good. They don't talk about it.
No, I don't know that
With-
because
with the lady-
because
with
I'm watching
Big
Nyla
Swole-
Rose
Yeah.
lose.
Again.
Yeah.
Big Swole and Evil-Lisa's tag team partner.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And
Jesse, I'm saddened at you. The number one rated wrestler, Big Swole, who you forgot to mention, still the number one rated female.
so they took her out of the rankings a couple months ago.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Finally.
Their rankings don't even fucking
Took
matter.
a fucking 3-month period to stop making guys like us be like, she's number one. she's number one, y'all.
Number one. Come on.
Never
Give
got
it-
a championship match, by the way.
Number one and never got arrested.
By the way, has been undefeated in the company until recently for over a year,
Yeah.
including beating Nyla Rose and Britt Baker.
Yep.
So I just want to throw out to people that anyway, don't
This
get me
is-
started on the Big Swole thing.
This is all real facts. We're not even making this shit up.
I don't even want to get started on the Big Swole stuff.
Okay.
But
That's
here's
another
the thing.
show.
They're going to add another show because what they're going to do is the last part of Rampage will be after they tape Dark and Dark Elevation because they realize asking their fans to try to be there for 5 hours is impossible. So they usually tape the show before they do Dynamite, which is about 3 hours of
You
taping.
know what's sad?
So they're in a
Holy
stadium already
crap.
for 3 hours.
You know what's sad?
It's
What
ridiculous.
bothers
Yeah,
me
why
about
not
this
do
is
that?
this.
Oh my God.
If you're going to do 3 hours on YouTube, make it just a little live event where people can come have tickets.
Just tape the show at a different venue like they used to do SmackDown and put it on YouTube. It is an untapped market. It's the only reason I'm mad at Billy Corgan, which, by the way, now
Yeah.
he's starting to put the shows back on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
But I'm just
That's
like,
good, yeah.
it's such an untapped market. Like NWA started to grow such
Can I also
popularity
point something
for
out?
that.
They let idiots like us basically become YouTubers. We didn't have to sign anything.
No.
We don't have to do anything.
No.
If we get popular enough, they'll just put advertising on us.
Yes.
Domino's will actually not put a pizza cutter in. But here's the deal.
Well, hell,
Yeah,
I'll eat your pizza every week. if you
Exactly.
start
But here's the deal.
us.
I'm going to have toppers tonight.
But shh.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, what?
we want the Domino's sponsorship.
Damn it, you're ruining the sponsorship already.
You're an idiot.
I want both of them.
Anyway, here's the deal. Here's the deal. You
I'm
don't
being
have
greedy.
to actually do anything but put up enough content. How has no one started, and I'll just say it for fun, why has no one started a YouTube Championship Wrestling? It's not hard.
Let's do it.
It's super not that. We don't have that money for production yet. But
Oh,
it's not
We'll
even
get
that.
there.
We got our champion.
That's true.
There
We'll
we
get
go.
there.
Yeah,
We'll
we
get
got
there,
our
We'll
champion
get there.
right there. Yeah.
It's not that
an-
complicated.
it is such
You
a-
need an email
it's an
address, and you can start a YouTube.
It's such
There we
an
go.
untapped
That's
market.
why all of you out there who have not subscribed to our YouTube page, but have either liked us on Facebook or listened to us on other podcast streaming services, all you need is an email address, and congratulations, you have a YouTube channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Go on, Jesse.
Yeah, and make your own YouTube.
But the thing about it is that
So it
sell
starts.
tickets to. But here's the deal: you also make the fans feel special if they're watching Dark or Dark
Correct.
Elevation.
Yeah.
You give
Oh, yeah.
them a separate show. But if you're taping 5 hours and it just goes on YouTube the next week, it's the same fans.
I'd want to.
By the way, they're not even there because they realize that the fans don't want to sit there for 5 hours. So they
I
take
wouldn't.
these shows hours before, as the fans are coming in. So guess what they do? They're like Jim Cornette saying, they're paying like fucking 50 wrestlers to be at ringside for these matches that they're not
Yeah.
even using on TV. Like, what is going on?
And they have to be paid because they're technically in the, quote, splash zone. They have to
Yes.
get paid.
Yes.
It's a liability thing that even though there's no insurance getting paid, Tony knows that one of the wrestlers could sue, be like, I'm not getting paid, but I just broke my leg because somebody flew into me.
I could not sit there for 5. I'd take a nap. In
Listen,
5 hours.
and it's the reason why I think WWE is finally like, maybe WrestleMania should just be 2 days. Because fans were like, dude, I cannot sit here for 7 fucking hours.
Yep.
Oh.
And then some of the matches are just
But
slow.
again, that's not something we hate.
True.
It's not something we're
No,
angry about.
No.
You want to give me 7 hours of content, that's fine. Just don't give it to me 7 hours in a
Yeah.
row. That's all I'm asking.
It's one of those things. So it starts with this sloppy ass match. Jericho wins.
Before we get
Whatever.
to that,
Oh, what's the next?
Labor,
He has
Labor
to,
of
Oh, now
Jericho.
he has to face
Wardlow.
Wardlow.
That's it. Just has to face
That's
Wardlow.
it.
Yep.
There's no. What's the stipulation?
What was the stipulation?
Because I thought they had a
He,
stipulation.
so
for
he
each
yeah.
match.
So he had to hit a move out the top rope to win, which
Well,
fucking
that's who
stupid.
would do.
To beat Hoovy, yeah.
Yeah, that's
which
what
is
I.
fucking
I know.
stupid. This stipulation is he has to survive Wardlow in a steel cage. I think
Okay.
he'll probably just win the match.
So it's basically just Cody all over again? Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So he has a time
The
limit. he's
seven
gonna be
Before we
able-
get
labors is the you want to talk about lazy WWE booking?
This
This is fucking
This
super
is
lazy.
ridiculous.
Dude, just announce that you're gonna have the match at All Out and just fill the feud in between there.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Oh, by the way, before we get to
I
the
don't
actual show, we
know.
have to address this. I don't give a damn how much money Daddy has. Daddy's still a businessman.
He has a
Daddy
lot.
doesn't want to spend all of his money.
Oh no.
Here's the deal. Stop pissing off national sponsors.
You fucking idiots.
Because let me make this very
How do
clear.
you piss off
Hold
a
on.
pizza company?
Let me make
Well,
this,
Nick Gage did it.
let me make
Well,
something very clear to you here.
There's still a pass.
Jim Cornette broke this down piece by piece because Domino's is not buying AEW, they're buying TNT.
Yes.
Yes.
So TNT puts stuff where they want to, and I'm sure somebody probably thought this would be funny. So somebody had to be in charge of this. But here's the deal.
That's
Here,
why
hold on.
That's why this wrestling company will be on TBS
Yeah.
soon.
Here's the deal. Can I
Well, it
point-
is going to be.
Which
on
by
TV.
the way isn't even the sports network a turn, it's
Nope.
the comedy network a
Yep.
turn. So it's perfect. But anyway,
Yeah, it is.
I want to point something out. Ladies and gentlemen, we did the math on our show
Yes, we
months
did.
ago. Almost a year ago.
Yeah, yeah.
A show is pissing off sponsors. A show is turning off sponsors. It's a show that they're paying for.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're paying for this. You know that little joke angle that Impact had when Sting was the network exec of Spike? That's going to be real here.
Yeah.
Real damn fast.
No, well,
Because you idiots don't understand that you can't. I don't care how much money you have. You will not get national television without commercials.
Correct.
It doesn't happen because guess what? TNT loses money when there's no commercials.
Correct.
And they don't, which means they're going to cut their 3-year deal with you for 2-year deal now, 3 years total.
And they could do that, yeah, anytime.
And now Tony is paying TNT for the slot. Because guess what?
Well,
You are okay. By the way, if you don't think Domino's doesn't talk to their competitors, they do.
Of course
they
they
all
do.
talk. There's a group chat.
well, hey, don't you know you can still PBR me with AEW now? Pastor Urban was like,
Well,
yeah,
but
we'll
PBR.
sponsor it.
Well, but
they're
PBR doesn't
okay
give a rat's.
beer.
They're a beer company. They're gonna sell
They're all right.
2 things in life that don't need advertising: beer and toilet paper. Who ain't buying this shit?
When weed's legal, weed.
Well, in
Cheers.
Colorado.
When weed is completely legal in this country, weed ads will sell everywhere. It
Yes.
don't matter.
But here's my thing.
We
Here's
don't
my
need
thing.
to do that.
I don't care. I don't care if Gene thinks that us talking about when will AEW die is the new when will Impact go off the air. Impact was never pissing off sponsors. They were just pissing off the networks.
Well, they were pissing off fans because the booking got such horseshit.
But yeah,
Impact. When is Impact going to go off? No, they're going to keep going.
but no.
We don't know why, but they're going to keep going.
No.
Good booking nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but here's
now-
the
yeah.
deal. You don't understand that if nobody wants to advertise on your show, and hold on a sec. There's 2 layers to this. Number 1, major sponsors will not want that slot.
Nope.
Number 1. Number 2, the smaller companies that could advertise, they can't afford it.
Nope.
It's I think it's like 100,000 for 30 seconds. It's or like 500,000 for 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Damn.
These companies buy Turner Network broadcasting time because it's incredibly watched. But name one show that goes commercialless weekly, not just once in a while for a special event or limited commercial.
Yeah.
Yes, limited commercial.
You can't. No,
You can't.
TV shows lose networks money because it's at least 45 minutes where there aren't ads running. If it's an entire 120 minutes of no ads, it's going to start costing Turner more than what they're paying to put the damn show on. So guess what, boys? And to all the AEW supporters out there and who think I'm just like, it's the new Impact's going off the air. No. You guys don't get this. No sponsors, no TV time. And not even Daddy can pay TNT enough money to fix that problem.
By the way, Gene, I will argue with you the fact that Impact had to change networks at least 6 times, and that wasn't ad-related
all right,
shows.
hold on. Spike,
Yep.
Destination America,
Yep.
Pop TV.
Which I don't even think Destination America exists. Does it anymore?
Actually,
don't
I think
believe so.
I think it does.
Does it? Okay.
does?
I didn't know it existed anymore.
Bigfoot's keeping it alive.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Big
so
cookies, everything.
so
alive.
Spike, which eventually just became Paramount.
Yeah.
Yep.
Destination America, who they outed them in less than a year. So what does that tell
They're
you?
a fucking travel channel. They were a travel channel. Though, so I don't
Then
understand.
you go to Pop TV, which was the former TV guy going up and down channel, to Access, which is only on a certain number of cable packages.
Yeah.
Like, folks, just because you're alive, this is the old Kitchen Nightmares additive. What do you have to show for this? Well, I have pride and I've kept the doors open. So you had enough money to pay the bills at the end of the month. That's it. You're not making profit. You're not
No.
successful. Your family's going to be homeless.
Yeah.
What? You survived 2 years. Guess what? You ain't going to survive 2 more. That's why you called Gordon Ramsay. That's why you called Robert Irvine. That's why you call these people. But here's the deal. I don't give a damn how much money Shad's worth or how much he's willing to give Tony. If there's no sponsors, the network cuts you.
Yep.
I don't care how much. And by the way, Shad Khan is not about to write Ted Turner that kind of check.
No, he's not.
Because that's a check that has no return.
No.
And that's a check that's not even going to his kid.
No.
That check is never going to happen. Yes, I understand TNT is barely paying for this, but they're still barely paying for it and getting some kind of return.
Yeah.
But when there's no return at all, boys, you're going to end up having to do this show in your backyard with trampolines and Rancho Cucamonga.
Like I told people.
Destination America is still.
It's still a channel.
still
all
a
right.
channel.
All right.
It
We
is.
confirmed that.
Like USA pays $5 million for Raw because Raw gets them $10 million a year.
Yep.
So they're willing to pay $5 million for it because they're getting a return on investment. Because no
And,
matter,
SmackDown has already paid off Fox's money. SmackDown's already paid that off.
I'm sure Fox wish it would have paid enough where they didn't have to sell most of their shit to Disney.
Whoa.
But
But
things happen.
hey, there you go.
But here's the thing.
One of their sister channel is the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
That's why they're still going.
yeah.
yeah.
I bet you that it's probably under the Oprah
Discovery
umbrella.
No, in Discovery
No-
Incorporated is the
No,
owner.
Discovery owns most of it.
Yeah,
Discovery
they're-
owns-
they're the paid
Oprah-
television channel.
Oprah Winfrey was a genius. Get your own channel, but don't be your own network.
Discovery.
There you go.
Discovery will not put on AEW.
No.
But they
20,
have
24 years. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Woo.
overall, like I said, why does WWE make great TV money that they do? Because they get great return on investment. SmackDown always does over $2 million.
Is someone going to sit here and tell me that Mountain Dew and Snickers aren't large contracts?
They're monster contracts.
Ladies and
and
gentlemen,
then-
Mountain Dew and Snickers are on almost every single Raw and SmackDown and SummerSlam, TakeOver, all that stuff. But here's the deal. Who's sponsoring an AEW pay-per-view? Oh, wait, nobody, because there's no commercials because it's on pay-per-view. Boys, you can't keep charging $50 and giving me $10 worth of pay. And by the way, I don't pay for it anyway because All Out's going to be on YouTube the next day.
This-
you
yes.
idiots don't know what you're doing.
I do the same thing.
The smartest thing Vince did was get off of paper.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Because you want to know why? Because even if the network or Peacock is only having 3 or 4 commercials, someone's paying you for the advertising slot, man.
And honestly, watching
Woo!
And he was making more money on the network than he ever was on pure pay-per-views later on. So
well, and also, honestly, watching Peacock and the commercials here and there, I mean,
they just need to fix
It's
their fucking
funny.
servers.
Yeah.
That was a
Better-
bad last
and they,
show.
And they
That was-
better fix it before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
missed
God.
like 20 minutes worth of wrestling because of that.
Yeah.
I know. I had to rewatch it just to.
Oh, I was
you know,
pissed
so.
off.
I was a
Luckily,
little upset
yeah,
about
yeah.
that,
Luckily, as much as fun as they were, luckily they were just entrances. But,
I'm very
but
happy
still.
that.
Well,
they,
yes,
I'm very
yes.
happy it became a meme because they deserve to. But
Yeah.
so please go to the next match. I don't really-
So anyway, what was the next match? Again, it's so frantic. I can't even remember the order of this damn thing half the time anymore.
Oh,
But no, Leroy.
again,
but-
Alzheimer's again or what?
when I watch this, it feels like
Okay,
I am.
all right,
But no,
all right. Brain
Leroy.
aneurysm.
To explain what happened.
A whole bunch of shit.
Well, besides that, so the Cookie Monster shirt
What's the point of the?
was to
Cookie
tease Punk.
Monster? Oh, Christ.
The Hawaiian shirt by one of the Bucks was to tease Bray Wyatt. So they're throwing these little nuggets in there of people that they don't actually have. and now we're gonna move away from the show and go to my other point of Jesse. They finally did it. We have to admit one thing. They were over $1 million for 4 weeks straight.
Yes.
But here's my thing. We're still not wrong, and here's why. If you go back and listen to our show, I have always said, do it on a regular Dynamite.
Mhm.
And everyone's like, well, they did it the 4th one. I'm like, first of all, it's only one.
Yeah.
Second of all, it was Dynamite Homecoming because you were back in Daly's place. You, for 4 weeks, have shot everything that you have to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to make the Cameron Grimes joke, even though that is great television.
Yes, it is.
Please allow that to stay on NXT. That's all I'm asking. But here's the
I
deal.
hope so. Oh my God.
But no. Here's the deal. You have hot-shotted everything you can think of. So, but every time you hot-shot, you get good rating. What's going to happen when you don't have a special thing? That was one of ECW's downfall.
Mm-hmm.
Every night had to be a special surprise. You don't always have, and that's where fans sometimes get worn out with Vince, is that he doesn't give you a special surprise every single week.
No,
He makes you pay for it.
Yeah, he
He makes you pay to get in the door to see it.
yeah.
But here's the deal.
you got to build it up.
1.1, you peaked at 1.4 over a bad Space Jam parody, which I can't believe that made you get 1.4, but whatever. Back down to 1.1. So, boys, you actually lost 300,000. If that trend continues, you're back to your you're back to your 800s. You're back to the same place you always been.
I'm guessing they probably will drop down again this because it's not going to be. It's going to be a regular Dynamite,
They
right?
can't make it.
Correct.
They
Yeah,
can't
it's
make
not
a
gonna- it's gonna
Dynamite
go down.
that makes 1 million people want to watch. They can't make a Dynamite. Because here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing. Leroy and I talked about this before you got here. This Dynamite, let's say it's a normal Dynamite, but it does 1 million. 5 weeks in a
Yeah.
row, cool.
Yeah.
But if there's no special setup, the next week's not going to do 1 million because you do a rating based on what you did the week before.
Correct.
Well,
That's how television ratings work.
Did SmackDown do big numbers this last
It
Friday?
still did over 2 million, but it dropped 16% or something like that.
Okay.
But it was still over 2 million.
Yeah.
Well, the only difference this week from last week is they didn't have Cena on TV.
Yeah.
That's it.
So Cena drives a number, but it's obviously that Roman Reigns is keeping the number.
It's obvious Roman Reigns is driving SmackDown over 2 million.
Yes. But anyway.
And maybe Corbin with the shirt he's wearing for the last 15
15
years.
years.
I think something
He's
like that.
been so much fun.
Yes, he has,
He-
dude.
Really, he has.
I did.
Here's what I will say about the ratings, though. It's not. Listen, congratulations on the over 1 million these last 4 weeks. Can you do
Which,
Raw?
by the way, we are actually happy about because we want
Yes.
the company to be around.
But can you do Raw numbers? Raw average. Well, it's a sad number for Raw because of what they used to do. Raw averages 1.5. Always, no matter how fucking boring the show is, it always averages about 1.5.
So to help you out, Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black, Labors of Jericho versus Hoovy, the TNT Championship, Lee Johnson versus Miro.
Correct.
Then they had the trios match, which, by the way,
A lot of fun seeing those boys.
yeah. Well, here's the deal. I love seeing Everrise, but you're not just gonna fill the roster with WWE guys? Really?
No, they're not signed. They just got that match.
But they
it's
still
fun.
got television time over 73 guys who were who.
But
who
they
were on the
also had
roster.
their own entrance.
Yeah. Layla Hirsch versus the Bunny, which was only to promote an NWA match.
Which confused me because they didn't say that. They said it was a women's championship eliminator match. By the way, people are getting mad at the whole championship contender matches on WWE.
The Eliminator's got to stop.
The Eliminator has been going on a lot longer than
Yeah.
and I'm sure Vince will stop the championship contender stuff at some point.
Yep. But I just want to point this out. Christian Cage versus the Blade. Christian can have a good match.
Yeah.
But this is your card, and this got you 1.1 million. Guys, what? That card, if you do it again in the same breath, is not going to get you 1.1 million.
Bro, BNR, you're basically almost licensed
They're
results
paying you to.
persons.
Yeah.
Because of course they do a lot of their pay-per-views off of BR Live.
Yeah. Bleacher Report for those wondering.
Only gave 2 A's in the show. The rest were C's.
Yeah, Jericho was a C.
They gave
the trios match was a C plus.
they gave rightfully so. They gave the
C
Hangman
plus.
Page stuff an A
Yep.
because that dude he just works. He just works extremely well. And then they gave the
Sorry about that. Liv Morgan on Twitter.
Woo! He showed me a picture of Liv Morgan, and I can't contain myself when I see her. I'm sorry, Bo.
I got to retweet that one.
You might want to keep her real close. The next time I see a WWE show.
Yes, I am.
And of course the Malachi Black thing, because let's be honest, we all just thought Cody was going to beat him.
Yeah.
Like we all were just sniffing, even BR sniffed, oh, Cody's just going to beat him. But that didn't happen, which was the right move. So everything else got a C. By the way, that's a trend recently that even your own reviewers are going, meh, meh, meh. Hell, I think last week they gave the women's segment a D.
Yeah.
Because they were just like, okay, you're at least you're treating her a little better than you treated your last women's champion.
Yeah.
Because she's getting interviewed every week.
But anyway, my whole thing is this. These guys are currently living in a fantasy world. They are.
Yeah, clearly.
And what I want to be very clear about, this, Jesse, they are okay, so this is actually going to be a segue. You just follow me for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I built a deck in Magic the Gathering. Okay?
Yeah.
The original idea was
What color? What deck did you make?
I built. It was originally supposed to be life gain pillow fort.
Okay.
I'm just going to gain life, and I'm going to sit back and watch the rest kill each other.
That does work.
It turned into a deck that I'll admit is probably one of my better ones, and I play Infect and Stacks, so I'm that guy. It's probably one of my better. It has 5 instant win cons.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
These guys, in less than 2 weeks, have created about 5 ways to cancel their own wrestling show.
Five instant deaths.
No sponsors.
Wow.
Don't care how much Shad has money. He ain't writing that check every week. You hot-shotted everything, so even when Daniel Bryan and CM Punk come in, they're going to be popular for about 3 weeks, and then boom.
AEW is a New Japan talent that you're paying because you guys are stupid, but continue.
Jordan Grace has already come out and said that the Forbidden Door is not doing anything for the women.
No.
So guess what?
Yeah,
So, by the way, how did you open a Forbidden Door and Jordan Grace is yet to be on your show?
Thank you.
I'm following her on Twitter.
This woman is a top 10 pro wrestler in the world
Damn straight.
today.
Damn straight.
Her and ER are about the only one. There's no shot to any other woman. That, to me, when I think about them against some of the other men,
Yep.
I would put them above so many of them.
Yep.
One of them works for Impact, is committed to Impact.
Yes.
You open this relationship. She still hasn't been on your show.
Nope.
She solves most of your problems just by being there.
Just by standing in the ring.
Just by standing in the ring with her fine ass. God, you're beautiful, Jordan. But just by being there, her presence alone.
I can't deny it.
just because we're finally on Twitter, stop looking at female wrestlers the entire show.
No, I'm tweeting a
Give
little.
me your phone, damn it.
I'm tweeting a
Give me
little.
your phone, damn it.
You are not my father. Shut up. I
Focus.
was tweeting a couple things.
Sure you were.
I was.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were a couple things. They were.
Yeah.
They called
No.
ham bones.
Later.
All right.
But you
I
got
did retweet Livs. I'm sorry. I had to.
you have a shot at getting Jordan. Hell, you got a shot at having the great my girl my girl from Decay.
Rosemary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can have her work with Abaddon.
Yep.
You haven't done that.
Who, by the way, quick question. And Jesse.
Where has she been lately?
Hold on.
I'm gonna take a breath.
Take a breath, because I have a question for you. Where's Abaddon been?
On AEW Dark, getting the best reactions when the fans are there. So the girl draws. Oh, you want to know what they said? And that's why I told people Bray Wyatt's not going to fucking AEW. You know how they describe her character?
How?
She's a girl who thinks she's a zombie, but she's actually crazy. That's how they describe her on their site.
Oh, my.
Because they...
Somebody want to clarify for that for me, because there were a lot of words in there. Not many of them made sense.
The whole thing didn't make sense.
She is a girl
God.
who believes she's a zombie, but she's not. Are you kidding me? She's called herself the Living Dead Girl the last 4 years since she used to be wrestling in Colorado.
Well, hold on a second.
She called herself the Living Dead Guard like Rob Zombie?
Well, no, stop stealing my punchline. So let me get this straight. She calls herself the Living Dead Girl, but hold on a second. Do you think she has enough pull to go to Tony and be like, can we license Rob Zombie? Probably not as much pull as the young fucks.
Abaddon is one of the most over
be
women in the
good-
company.
That would be a good song for her.
Like,
Yeah.
so as we know, Vince goes based off of the reactions.
Yes.
If Abaddon was getting these reactions in WWE, she would
She'd
get
be on the
pushed.
show.
And everyone's like,
To the moon.
And everyone's like, well, Vince wouldn't do
Yes.
that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Kofi. Kofi Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi Kingston. And by the way, look, okay, that's my only example because here's why. He was given a WrestleMania title change. What more in this world do you want in wrestling?
Kofi was only supposed
Definitely.
The next closest thing is the main event of the Tokyo Dome.
Exactly.
Or yeah, for Becky.
Yeah, and Becky.
They were going to
Becky-
try to turn her
Oh,
heel,
God.
and the man thing
Well, but
went
Becky's an
babyface.
outlier because Becky basically forced him to do it. Vince did Kofi not a favor, but did Kofi without anyone really saying do it.
Because
Everyone
he heard,
else said Becky
he
had to go.
heard the reaction during the damn.
Hell in a Cell.
Well, no. It was.
Oh God, just scared it out of me.
The damn match where they
Before that.
the match
Anybody
on
on
Raw.
the show gonna get it? Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, thank you.
There. Oh.
So the gauntlet match.
Two of us forgot. You gotta stop looking at female wrestlers' Twitter.
I'm not looking at anything.
Stay on task.
It's the phone is not on. There's no nothing.
God.
But
Then pay
because of
attention at least.
because of the gauntlet match, Vince
blew
heard
my
your
mind.
reactions.
But remember, it stayed at elimination.
Yes.
That's what originally got the light bulb to go off was the gauntlet match, but it stayed in his head because he was still giving the same reaction at
Yes.
Elimination Chamber.
And then he was
48
like,
hours later.
okay, well, let's do this story.
Yeah.
Let's do. So Vince goes off based off reactions. You know, I just realized that in the corner of this lovely kitchen that we do this show, that that our friend Leroy has Nick Gage's weapons.
Oh, well, that's just. They're in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you actually put the lights up. Okay.
No, the old ones are in there.
Yeah.
Oh, so we should take
I
those
have
out.
to recycle them.
We don't have any, we don't have any duct tape in the room though. So, but anyway, to kind of,
Yeah, I do.
good. You're proper.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it's in
Yeah.
another room with the kids.
Shut up.
Which is smart.
Okay, so just to get to my point, there are at least 5 or
Right
6
there.
ways
That's
that
perfect.
that they could kill that they could kill themselves. But
Yeah.
here's the deal: I don't want it to happen.
Me neither.
Oh, by the way, let's get to the
Me neither.
final thing, Jesse. What was one of the things that was said about All Elite Wrestling early on? That we're not just going to sign every talent that leaves.
We're gonna build our own guys.
But hold on.
We're not gonna sign every
according
talent
to
that
Dirt
leaves
Sheet
WWE.
Radio. According to Dirt Sheet
Bless
Radio.
you. Bless you.
According to Dirt Sheet Radio,
Yes.
there have been 52 wrestlers released in just 2020 alone, and WWE has only signed 2 of those 52.
Maybe 3 now because of one
Ruby.
other
But
person.
time out. Of those 52, 7 actually mattered. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact.
True.
Yeah. 'cause
7 of them mattered.
Yeah.
You only signed 2. But here's the deal. You are becoming everything that you said you would not.
True.
You've got
Yes.
Sting, who's coming off of WWE television.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Big
By
Show.
the way, it wasn't even a big numbers mover like they told
No.
TNT that he would
No.
be.
And what has he done lately
He's just a manager.
He's just
besides-
watching Darby Allin.
besides kicking?
He's
or-
watching a guy who's probably not going to be on their television if they're smart enough based on the current allegations, but we'll get into that another day.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Against Darby?
You didn't hear that?
Oh, yeah.
No.
We can
yeah.
discuss that later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll discuss that.
Off air.
We'll discuss that in a couple weeks here when we
Okay.
see more come out because we don't want to
Okay.
be those guys.
Okay.
But anyway, you brought in Christian shortly after the Royal Rumble. You brought in Big Show and Mark Henry shortly after Raw. Regardless of how they were used, they were still on WWE television.
They were legends.
They were not a
contracts.
wrestling talent. They
No.
were used outside of
You're going to bring
wrestling.
in CM Punk, whose only real fame in the mainstream world was WWE television.
yeah.
You're bringing in Daniel Bryan, who's
Well, outside of getting knocked out in under 5 minutes, which is longer than I lasted on my first date. Please continue.
but this is combined both matches.
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly.
But you're also going to get Daniel Bryan, who will be Bryan Danielson, who is
Yeah.
going to be off of freshly WWE television.
Who will mostly work New Japan.
You got
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, whose major mainstream success was on WWE television. I could go on.
By the way, the biggest selling point to other people who didn't know who you were was Chris Jericho.
was Chris Jericho.
There we
You
go.
got Cody Rhodes as a mainstay EVP, freshly off WWE television
Yes.
in the mainstream.
And New Japan. So
Yes.
you have people who know him from the mainstream from WWE.
But hold on.
And-
But hold on. Remember, because it's New Japan and not Vince, everything's okay.
Yeah.
But then they got his brother.
Freshly off of asking to be released.
Yes.
Freshly off of WWE
Which
television.
Vince generously granted with no 90-day clause.
You're gonna bring in.
Just saying.
Hold on. You brought in Andrade, freshly off of WWE television.
Who was asked to be released.
You brought in Malachi Black, freshly off of WWE television.
Didn't ask to be released, got released.
You're gonna bring in Ric Flair because you'd be stupid not to attempt it.
Yeah.
But don't forget about Chavo.
You brought in Chavo, whose last major American exposure was on WWE television. You brought in Hoovy, whose last exposure was on WCW. Who owns the WCW library? The WWE.
Yeah,
Oh my
the
God, we're
WWE,
sounding like
yeah.
a broken record right now.
Holy shit. Just because you've only signed 2 in 2021 doesn't mean in your 2.5 years that you're made. By the way, this is what's pissing me off because Jesse said earlier.
Miro, Brody Lee, God rest his soul.
Yep.
Do we need to go back to the very beginning and start rattling them all off?
Because
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Lance Archer off of New Japan G1
Yes.
fame.
There you go.
But
we'd
no,
be here too
Jesse
long for
said
that.
John Moxley.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Am I right that their first 2 AEW champions were former WWE champions as well?
They've only
Yes.
had 3 world champions, and the third one has literally made that belt the most meaningless goddamn. Miro's doing better as the TNT
Yeah, I'm
champion.
honestly.
I'm sorry, but he actually
once again,
is.
former WWE guy.
Yep.
Yeah, he is doing
Also,
a good.
Kenny's a former WWE guy. He was in developmental.
He was. But then the idiot said what he had to say about Harley racing them.
And then they're like, screw you.
Yep.
Go to Japan.
But no, Jesse said earlier developing their own guys. Jesse, as soon as they bring in Punk, as soon as they bring in Daniel Bryan, as soon as they maybe bring in Bray Wyatt, as soon as they bring in Ric Flair, their entire 2-hour show is going to look like Raw from 3 years ago.
Yes, it is.
I'm not even shitting you.
It
It's
really
going to look
will.
like Raw from 3 years ago.
Like I said, I don't think. Listen,
It
Bray.
is, totally.
Bray's not going there. If he's smart, he
No.
goes to Impact.
I go to Impact. Yeah.
I think they will find a way to shell him the money he deserves. Because,
I don't even think Bray wants money. I just think Bray wants to create.
but I just mean like the security, because he's going to take a pay cut
Yes.
compared to what he was getting.
Oh, yeah, he is,
Yes.
totally.
But I think Impact can make it work because I bet you they'll be like, I mean, listen, we'll have you do a couple things at AEW.
The only
so
thing
they'll-
that
they'll
okay,
shell out
this
some
is
cash.
yeah, this is not me saying I want Bray back in WWE. I do, but this is not me saying that. Okay, hold on.
There's
hold on,
always,
hold
and there's,
on, hold on.
and I was going to say, there's
Yeah.
always that
Right.
possibility.
But here's the deal. I don't.
You
want,
never know.
I don't want Bray anywhere if he's not 100% okay.
Which apparently,
I
so
totally
he,
agree.
he's actually come out and said he's all right.
All right.
So he has come out and said he was explained before the cuts that he could be cut. They pushed his return date,
Yeah.
and then when he got cut, it wasn't a surprise to him.
Yeah.
He's got millions of dollars put away.
Yes.
He said he's okay. He's okay with the death of Brody now.
Yep.
He's his next move in wrestling right now. He's kind of teasing is going to be called the Cult of Rotunda.
Yes.
Which could include people are speculating could include his brother and Adam Shear, formerly known as Braun, because
Yes.
Braun has been working out his knee, which was injured when he got cut.
Yes.
Yep.
But
yep.
they've been paying Braun this whole time because he's still under his 90-day.
Yep. But this is my point. You guys don't understand
Go to Impact, Bray.
that
Just go to Impact.
that
Yes.
outside of the elite, and I'm serious. Outside of the elite, the majority of your show is now former WWE guys.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we forgot about Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
We didn't even
Remember, because he came in with
Dang it.
he came in with the broken gimmick.
Yep.
That didn't work in WWE. They tried it. They watered it down, but they tried it.
Well, no.
You know, they didn't water it down. They tried it.
No.
They gave it a shot.
I am not even mad about that because remember that was still a TNA lawsuit
True.
situation. They couldn't use the full
Yeah.
thing, so they had to go woken just to get around the back end of it.
So are we still going to call JR and Tony too?
JR counts.
JR counts. Tony
Tony does not because remember
Tony?
no.
Okay. All right,
You know,
I'm just wondering
no,
if you
know,
did
Jim
what.
Cornette mapped this out perfectly.
Okay.
Tony doesn't know better right now because he was out of wrestling for 20 years.
Yeah.
He saved his money. He didn't need the money. He raised his multiple children. Tony was out of wrestling for 20 years. JR was at least in wrestling. And remember, Jim watched perhaps the best wrestling in the world before he went to AEW in New Japan.
Because he was one of their talent scouts for this side of the country,
Yes.
side of the world.
So the fact of the matter.
So JR's been doing this a long time.
So the fact of
yeah.
the matter is
Because
this.
after his wife died, he immediately went to go work hardcore for New Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I did.
And more power to him.
Which,
Oh, yeah.
if that's the way you do grief, no
Yeah,
problem
no,
with
nothing
it,
wrong
brother.
with that. But the fact of the matter is this, and here's the deal. I kind of want to end
I
on.
still can't believe these fucking idiots got mad at the best talent scout pro wrestling has ever fucking seen.
Yep.
In Jim, like if Jim Ross has something to say to you, just listen.
listen. Oh,
Go
God,
to him.
yes.
If you disagree, just go. Hey Jim, can you explain that to me a little more? Like I think I get what.
And
you
it's not
kinda
like
mean.
Jim's an unreasonable human
No. Steve Austin has always said back in the old days of WWE, Jim would say something on commentary about a wrestler. They would get a little upset, but they would go to him like, Jim, can you explain to me so I can kind of get a better feel?
And you also got to remember, this is the guy who, as Josh Barnett pointed out, this is the guy that had to unbury the Young Bucks in New Japan.
Both of them did. How do you get mad at a dude who you wouldn't even be in pro wrestling if it wasn't for all the talent that he brought to WWF, WWE back in the day? Like, are you kidding me?
I just want to point
Jim
something
Ross.
out, and I just want to point something out because we're gonna get to the end here, and this is what I end with. You've got momentum, boys. Don't squander it with bullshit, please.
Just step down as EVPs.
You got Punk coming in. You got. Oh, by the way, here's the other problem. Here's my other issue. You think Punk and Bryan are going to come? Well, Bryan might because Bryan Danielson just wants to be in the ring. But do you really think, and I'm serious, do you really think that CM Punk, for how much money he's going to make, is just going to take what Kenny and the Bucks say as gospel?
No.
What did I say last week? Before we end the show, what did I say last week? I said everyone's so freaking happy that Phillip Brooks is signed with you, but you don't understand the CM Punk problem that's coming your way. There is a reason that after Triple H talked to Phil, when Paul talked to Phil, and then Triple H went back to Vince, and Vince still said no. There's a reason. It's not because Vince harbors. Remember, after everything Bret Hart did, he brought him back to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah.
Well, what you also got to remember, Vince hates licensing music. He paid for Cult of Personality. And the boys in Living Color, they deserve that paycheck
Yeah.
because that's a damn good song.
So it's one of those deals where you guys don't understand the problem you're about to have. You're not going to be able to tell him anything.
No.
He's going to want full creative control.
Yep.
Like,
Because
and
here's the deal.
at
When,
the-
here's the deal.
and at
When
the sight
Edge
of
gets
unhappiness,
it, when Edge gets it, oh my God, he's actually building stars. He's actually willing to do jobs. Holy shit, you got a legend that actually knows what he's supposed to be doing at the end of his physical career. Like, Edge is a guy that you trust with
Yeah.
creative control because he's
Yeah.
not going to screw you.
no.
CM Punk?
CM Punk,
Maybe.
Phil, I wouldn't blame him because remember, he's still bitter that he didn't get that one chance.
Yeah.
And ice cream with his face on it.
Well, you know.
It's funny that they brought WWE ice cream bars back like 2 years after he quit.
Yeah, right.
I know,
That
you
was
get 'em-
hilarious.
you get them at, I
The
get 'em at
fu-
Walmart
the
for my
fucking
kids.
irony.
Yeah.
I'm like Vince can be petty.
Yes,
let's be
he can.
honest.
And you know what's really,
Britt
you know what's
Baker
really funny?
getting leg dropped by Nia is proof of that.
You know,
Hey, release this on social media.
you know what's real
quick.
fun about the ice cream bars too?
What's that?
You know who's on it? Not CM Punk.
Yeah, no.
John Cena
It's John Cena.
Yeah, also,
and Roman Reigns.
So as we get to the end here, a few quick notes to correct myself. Jesse, I do believe, now that I've gone back and watched the video, I do believe there is maybe a slight trampoline for Reggie. Either way, it's an impressive move because he lands
Oh
it clean.
God, that was wow.
I was gonna say because if he was jumping in there with no tramp, that dude is a superhero.
Yes. but anyway, no. No. To end it with this, boys, just don't screw it up. Because here's the deal: I want All Elite to be better. I want All Elite to matter. But the problem is that you've given me no good judgment.
It's
I
just-
have no like. I have nothing but fear. I have no confidence in this. None.
The track record is not looking
No.
that good.
I will say this because now he's gonna probably take a big step back from actually being in ring.
Yeah.
Cody, here's your chance, man.
Yeah.
Fucking evaluate your friends
Yep.
because
They're not friends. I refuse to even report that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
evaluate your business partner.
Thank
partners.
you.
And
Your acquaintances at this point.
Since you have more of a
Okay, yeah.
controlling
'Cause his
interest
money's
in
in
the company.
this.
Yes. Since you
His
have
family money's in this.
since you're the largest of the other EVPs outside of you and your wife, and of course the guy who uses his dad's money, I would start making some decisions before.
As far as
the end
I'm
of the
concerned, after that Space Jam thing, I refuse to ever even acknowledge what Jesse's said, which is Shad basically gave all control to Tony, it's still Daddy's money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because okay, quick question. Shane actually went out, and yes, he lost it at one point, but he made his own money. Shane made his own business ventures. Has Tony done anything in his life that made remotely what his dad did anywhere else?
Well, so I've gone and done the research on the soccer team. That's not pretty.
Well. Okay. Here's the deal.
That history.
There's
is not
a lot
pretty.
of money in owning a Premier League soccer team, but they're not a Premier League soccer team anymore.
Because they kept
No.
losing. He did have another like small tech startup company. That's not pretty. That didn't end well.
So he was a failure back with family money.
Yeah.
Now, okay, Shane was kind of a failure, but Shane's had some good stuff happen.
Shane's only a failure because weed is just not legal everywhere.
Yes.
So it is very, very.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's learning what I've learned, and that we didn't know his mother is a hardcore conservative.
Yeah.
And so he didn't get help like he was hoping to.
Yes.
So it just didn't work out the way he wanted to. But he made a lot of money doing it.
But the fact of the matter is this: you are a money mark.
And
You are a good person at heart, but you're a money mark.
Yep.
You are
I
spending
think
Daddy's
Tony
money.
Khan is one of the most generous human beings on the planet, and that's not a joke.
Oh, no.
I was going to talk about.
I agree.
I know people would be like, well,
You're
yeah, he's
pulling,
giving.
you're
No
pulling a
joke.
Jay White. You're pulling a Jay White. You're pulling a king switch.
Like he's the most generous person because he's paying these clowns.
It's bit of a.
But I do think he's one of the most generous people from what I've seen him give back to the fans and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But
He just can't deliver a soccer championship, an NFL championship.
that's Daddy. Shad is
Dad
Daddy.
is with the NFL.
That's Shad.
can't-
So
we
while
can't-
he might be in the room during draft day, that's still Daddy.
Not the soccer team.
Well, the soccer team
Soccer
is
team, yeah.
all him.
Yes.
But
Oh my God.
he is a very kind man. But you need to go talk to Daddy about making business decisions. Yeah. Because at some point, Dad's going to be like, I gave you this money to compete with Vince.
Daddy's going to say sell.
And Dad's going to be like, you're done doing this.
Can
Someone
you
else
imagine,
is going to do this.
Can you imagine if Shad realizes, okay, the XFL is no longer Vince, even if it is Dwayne, because we all know Dwayne has a fence up with Vince.
Well, and he has a relationship
yes,
with Vince.
but remember, Dwayne's still his own man.
Mm-hmm.
When Shad realizes that the XFL is no longer competing with the NFL, when Shad realizes this is no longer about Vince, they're both older, they both understand business, they'll get over it.
Yeah.
Daddy's going to say sell, and what if Vince buys AEW like he did pennies on the dollar WCW?
What was the joke that Triple H
Probably.
made about what DX getting inducted on NXT television? He said, Vince can buy that pissant company and then fire you.
Because here's the deal.
Which he will.
Because here's the deal. Tony may not want to sell, but we all know that Anthony doesn't have the checkbook.
He clearly doesn't have the final say-so.
No.
So, but like I said, I want them to do well
We all do.
Oh yes.
because I need Vince to come out of his bubble more. I really do need Vince.
Which, by the way, as much as we think it's going to kill the NXT we loved during COVID, this could be the step. That's all I'm saying.
Well, because
it has the potential to
could,
help.
yes.
I need to see them start working with companies again. Like, it's time. It's time for WWE to come out of its bubble because Vince keeps talking about how he wants to get back to having, 4 or 5 million people watching Raw and SmackDown. Well, to do that, Vince, you got to come out your own bubble.
Yeah.
And he's been so locked in this bubble now for 15 years.
Yep.
So with AEW, I used to always, not with these fucking idiots as EVPs, but I was hoping, you know what, maybe they'll be able to kind of compete with him enough, but not disrespect him if you're smart.
Yeah.
To where you're like, let's come to some sort of business relationship. Let's make something work because it benefits all of us if we make something work. That's why New Japan is willing to work with promotions over here because they're trying to expand. Well, yeah, we do great in Japan. We get 10 million people to watch on Japanese television.
Yeah.
We've gotten, over 6 million people now of English-speaking origins on New Japan on the app, of course.
New Japan Strong.
Yeah. Well, the app is called something else. But
Okay.
New Japan World. And so, but we know it can be bigger, and we can help you guys grow. We still have our working relationship with All Japan. That's still there. Like, so we've built these relationships. We understand how this works while still being technically the number one company where we are.
Yes.
I was hoping for that with these freaking idiots. But apparently Jim Cornette has been trying to warn us for years that they're clowns outside of Cody, because I actually think Cody understands that cultivating relationships is important.
Yep.
And by the way, because Dustin did not leave on bad terms with
No.
Vince. So
I'll be honest with you. I really don't think anyone's actually on bad terms with Vince. I actually believe that. Some guys might be mad right now. And by the way, we never even discussed it, but I sent you the actual quote, and you were a very big fan of it. I think Tyler Breeze had the best quote.
if you hate what they're doing with you, because as Andrade approved, just ask for your release. Like,
And not to mention, like, by the way, the whole line about sitting on the bench, that's not the way people took it.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that unless you're a John Cena or a Roman Reigns or a Drew McIntyre, you're not going to be on the field every week.
No.
You get your TV time to earn more playing time, to earn more money.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, everyone's on the bench at some point.
Yeah.
But Tyler Breeze said it best. We are paid to sit on the bench until we're put in the game.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yep.
And that's not him
like you
settling.
said,
That's not him settling.
No,
That's not him being.
Which was a stupid response by people.
Yeah.
Because basically what he was saying was, what he should have said was, listen, Andrade showed you. Because remember, Andrade was the guy they were pushing, and he was on the bench. They were pushing, and he was on the bench. If you don't like it, you're not sure, just go have the respectful conversation with us. Listen, man, I'm not sure if you guys want to keep using me, but I do think I can use my talents elsewhere if you guys aren't sure. And you know what? Be respectful. And he let him go without the 90-day clause.
Sad part is, every single story that I have seen about wrestlers going to Vince about contracts, whether it's Shawn, whether it's Paul Levesque, whether it's name somebody, I don't care.
Yeah.
They've always been able to talk shop with the guy.
Yeah.
And Mark Henry and Big Show recently. It's like, go get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get what you deserve. Anyway, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. We got a lot of special stuff coming up. Can't wait to help everybody see more pro wrestling greatness. From Jesse, from me. We are now officially on Twitter. Once again, that is 13cards_13.
Oh, yes.
At twitter.com.
Also, get your butts to the YouTube.
We got 56.
Like with all the views when Leroy goes live, and all the people who it reaches, like your last post reached like 300 people. Well, then go to the YouTube.
It did?
Yes,
go
it
to
did.
the YouTube.
Yes, it did.
And subscribe. We are going to start pushing more content out. I'm just working on some camera stuff.
Yep, nope, it's all good.
I got my stuff coming in.
Yep, it's all
I
good.
will be posting way more content on YouTube very soon. Get on the YouTube, subscribe it for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, we are here to serve you, but we are also here to make sure that you get things in an objective way, but also get the proper information as well. Which is why I corrected myself with the Reggie thing, because if we find out we're wrong, we'll
just correct yourself.
There we go.
Yeah, it's not a big
Which is
deal.
what he did.
And
So
we
from
got
all-
a lot of stuff to talk about the next time we get
So
together.
from all of us as 13 Cards, we'll see y'all in about 2 weeks. We got a hell of a show, and I can't wait next week. Thank you all so much, and we will see you guys next time. And once again, to end the show, all the love to Mr. Beautiful Bobby Eaton. Thank you for 40 years of just
And condolences to the family.
beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you all.